Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language, adult themes, and even scarier, maybe politics.
How are you, Jenny? How are you before I go off?
I've been sleeping all day because I'm not feeling well again. I think I'm coming down with COVID again.
Yikes!
But we'll see. We'll hanging in there. I've had symptoms for about 3 days, and doctor said quarantine for 5. So we'll see what happens.
Ugh.
But I'm pretty tired. I hope I don't fall asleep on you guys tonight. I'll try not to.
Yeah, I had thought I'd had a relapse over the weekend and was feeling really crappy, but I got my test results back yesterday, came back negative, so I guess I am safe to be out in public again. Which is good because I really haven't been out since Christmas.
You're safe to be in public, at least in terms of COVID, you mean?
Yeah, well, I'll still wear a mask so I'm not coughing on other people because with my allergies, I'm pretty much always coughing anyway.
Same. I love the mask era. Absolutely love it. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm Godless Sewing, and I'm an American too. You can go F yourself, Mitch McConnell. Shove it up your turtle tailpipe.
Oh, it was what a grand mistake.
Look, I'm going to come with a disclaimer because I am not the most politically correct person at all, and I censor myself. My son has ASD, and he goes to school and does not curse and comes home and talks like a sailor. So as adults, as human beings, we can learn discretion.
Well, yeah, at least he knows to filter it in public.
Exactly. It's still shocking to this day. He knows when to keep his mouth shut. But Mitch McConnell, like I saw, said the quiet part out loud.
Which quiet part was it this time?
Well, no, you go ahead.
I want to quote it. No one's watching, so I'm gonna go back and clip this. Because Mitch McConnell can officially kiss my butt, and I don't know why people vote for that turtle. He has done nothing for their state. Aren't they the poorest state in the union?
They're right up there.
He knows how to win elections. That's his only skill. He knows nothing about governing.
That's all any Republican has for skills.
Okay, so I'm gonna just it, but he said that that Black Americans are voting just as high numbers as Americans.
Okay.
No, he didn't say Black Americans. He just said blacks, didn't he?
I'm reading it off of Twitter, so someone's probably he's a racist piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen that it's definitely been the whole Republican platform at this point that the way they're going to win is preventing minorities from voting.
And welcome, David Taylor. We usually don't go straight into politics. We usually start out fluffy, but it's been a rough day. We'll end it with the pictures of my Think card that I sent Jenny.
Oh yeah, that electric. God, it's something cool.
And did you hear the Supreme Court ruling that the Supreme Court came down and thoroughly smacked Trump about the executive privilege thing?
Oh yeah,
8-1 saying that no, a former president has no right to claim executive privilege. It's dead.
Especially when you attempted to start a coup on your own damn Capitol. Oh, that's like when I worked at good old Carl's Jr. There was a famous story about a guy who tried to rob the store, and he had his friends do it and rob him, and then he wondered why he went to jail the next day. Good old
name Jesse.
Yeah, I think this has been well proven. I think that's more than an opinion at this point.
Exactly.
People in DC really don't care about the people they're supposed to be representing, or very few of them do.
No, not at all. And I think that's part of the problem too. And I wasn't shocked at all by Mitch McConnell. Let's be real. I was not shocked at all. But the problem is I just don't know how we can let people like this be in charge anymore. In order for the human race to move forward, we can no longer put up with people like that, whether you agree with them or not. I don't care if you, at this point, like, we can all agree to disagree. I called someone in the community racist recently, and I wasn't necessarily calling them racist. I was calling their version of history kind of skewed and told from one version.
Yeah.
You know, but we can all agree to disagree. But people like that shouldn't be in charge. You know.
Well, and they're introducing a new bill in Florida that would make it a crime to make white people feel uncomfortable about history.
How the F do you even do? See, this is why.
Yeah, mostly it's going back to the thing of it's not going to let them teach history in school because it might make the white kids feel uncomfortable.
You know what's really funny about that whole thing? Remember when McCain and Palin were running, and the whole Republican Party, you know, one of the whole thrusts of their entire campaign was how Democrats are all touchy-feely. And now who's doing the touchy-feely rap now?
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Well, it's just like the Republicans whining about cancel culture, where they pretty much invented it.
Exactly. No, it's old school cancel culture. Are you kidding me? They used to literally wipe you off the face of the earth. Like I said, Mitch McConnell has lost his damn mind.
Turtle man.
You know
Yeah,
what? And I'm
David's got it right. That, you know, a lot of this has to do with them, you know, getting religion tied up in politics. Because again, that's really how the Republicans keep getting elected, is they keep getting people to vote based on their religion, even though it's things that will personally hurt them.
And people have personal politics. You know, I never knew until my grandmother got older, but she oh, excuse me. She hated she hated people from Japan because of World War II. And my grandfather, who was the most non-racist human being I ever met in my life, utterly and completely hated German people. You know, but they never said anything until they got old and their medicine got mixed up. They started telling the truth.
Well, you know, and okay, that's a bit different. I can understand that because at least it was somewhat based on history. It wasn't strictly a racist thing. You know,
True.
hating the people who started a major war.
But my grandmother didn't say a word until she got like Alzheimer's, and then all of a sudden, like, she started telling the truth of how she really felt. My grandfather, he had Parkinson's, and he I don't know if his medicine got mixed up or something. My cousin and I had to carry him up a flight of stairs, and in the middle of the stairs, my grandfather looks at my cousin and I, and he's like, "Get off of me, you Nazis!" And he starts like literally trying to fight us tooth and nail.
Yeah, must have been having some kind of a flashback.
Hardcore. He was there on D-Day and he never talked about what he did. See, but that's another thing. Mitch McConnell didn't fight a war against black people. He just hates people of color. You know?
Yeah.
There's nothing behind it. There's no...
He just has a persecution narrative that somehow black people are going to take his money away.
He's old. No one's coming for his money except for those people that call, those scammers that call. Don't get a landline and you'll be okay.
Well, and anyone who thinks they might be in his will.
True. It's just I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. And it feels like a year ago is when, like, almost a full, no, it's been 2 years since 2020. I lump the whole COVID era into one big year, even though it's been 2 years. But
yeah, I've been kind of doing that too. I've been losing track.
I remember when we were tagging black business and black owned and all that stuff during all the riots and things that were going on, you know? Yeah. So I'm not participating this time, but I am an American, God damn it.
Just on the World War II thing, I need to mention that my father was in the 95th Infantry in Metz, France in World War II. And there is a museum there to this day to his division because they held off repeated German assaults to take the city.
That's awesome. See, that's awesome. I see. I respect people like that. And my uncles, they all fought in Vietnam, and they're complete a-holes, but they're not necessarily racist.
But like you said too, I had to learn about this from history books. My dad never talked about it. He never said anything about what happened to him over there.
My father, he loved to tell stories, so he told a lot of the really like Hogan's Heroes, like all the funny boot camp stories. But it wasn't until he was older did he start telling about like the hardcore stuff that went on. Hi, Pirate Kitty.
Hey,
Hello.
Pirate Kitty.
Hey, kitty.
Pirate Kitty
Meow.
used to be a regular. We haven't seen her here for quite a while.
Yeah.
You
How's
kind of went
everybody
missing
doing?
in action altogether. We didn't see much of you anywhere for, well, most of the last year.
Yeah, it's been one of those years, everybody's having them.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, no judgment here whatsoever.
Glad to see you again.
Yeah, good to hear you guys too. Ugh,
Awesome.
ugh. Am I okay? Yeah.
It's been
So what
a
were you
crazy.
guys? Well, yeah, it's been the whole year, and then also a couple of my friends that I used to hang out with rather consecutively online. We had gone our separate ways for a while, and then we all converged on this one game. So I would be hanging out with them, playing my video games with them. But now they're all back on weird shifts, and so they're not awake this time of night anymore.
I know that feeling. I'm back on American time.
What? Why would you want to do that?
Well, it's and also it's the school year too, and this is the time of year where it starts grinding on me because now there's no real breaks until summer. So it's and then they were like, "Oh, my son's homeschooled," and they're like, "We want to bring the ASD kids in and integrate them," and then the whole Omicron thing happened, and they're like, "Oh, psych, we're not gonna do that."
Yeah.
So it's been another long year.
I can't believe they're still trying to get kids back into school, all things considered.
It's political here in Southern California. It's extremely political, and like
Yeah.
there's we have elections coming up. People are already running. Our sheriff has allowed Los Angeles to turn into Gotham City because he got defunded and he's mad about it.
Yeah. It was reckless for them to reopen the public schools before all the kids could get vaccinated.
And in terms of population, Los Angeles County is the biggest county in the country. And in terms of space, San Bernardino is the biggest county in the United States.
Oh, it's endless. It goes all the way to
I just wanted to impress you with my California knowledge.
you have. It goes all the way to the Arizona border. Yeah. San Bernardino.
Does it really?
Oh, it's endlessly huge. I was on a Greyhound one time going to Arizona to see my cousin, and a young man decided to steal everything on the bus and tried to run. And we were literally out in the middle of nowhere. So the Greyhound guy just sat there, and they called the San Bernardino sheriffs out, and they brought a plane out and everything, and they eventually arrested him. They're lucky because if he had been let back on that bus, we were gonna kill him because it was a 5-hour delay.
Oof.
Oh
Wait a
yeah,
minute, what's this about trains getting robbed?
it was a Greyhound. He and I watched him because I was sitting.
No,
like
David Taylor is saying something about trains getting robbed.
Oh, LA is lit right now. LA is turned into Gotham City. Like Batman, if you're out there, we need you. It's bad. And even in my good old suburbs where I hang out with Opie and we walk down to the creek and go fishing, our mall's been robbed multiple times. Our Apple store is closing because people cannot stop walking in there with firearms.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I didn't even know this. A friend from Oregon called me and she's moving back here and she's like, "Why didn't you tell me LA has turned into Gotham City?" And I go to work and I come home and I take care of my son. Like it's my life is not that complicated.
Okay, stealing Apple products is stupid. Everything has a serial number, and when they try to resell it, they always catch these guys who rob the stores.
No,
It happens
you don't
every
even have to
time.
sell. You don't even have to sell it. They can read your serial number over online if they want.
Yeah, but what's usually happening is these guys, rob the Apple store and they get, like a couple of dozen iPhones or something, and they try to sell them on eBay.
And they're all
And as soon as somebody from the government buys one, they track the serial number and they go pick the guy up.
Exactly. Like right now, I'm talking to you on my MacBook Pro. I'm not even kidding. You couldn't steal this. If someone came and took it, I could just call Apple and be like, someone stole my computer, and they would turn it on, make it inert, and give me a new one, especially with today's technology.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most fun thing to think about. And Apple's not the only company that can do that to laptops and phones. But just the idea, it's so gratifying to think that somebody steals your phone, and that you can make a couple calls to either Apple or do it online yourself, and just turn the thing into a brick.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, that's one of those things I didn't understand. Like people would, did I? Oh, I paused the stream. I was like, why am I not on the screen? Because I accidentally paused the stream. I used to sell prepaid cell phones, and they would steal them, and I'm like, you can't do anything with that.
Mhm.
Like you literally can't, because like the serial number is not activated. Who do you think is gonna give you money for a phone
Or
that they can't
people
even
who would
activate?
shoplift the blank gift cards.
Mm-hmm. It's like you're stealing something that's worth 1 cent.
Yeah, exactly.
If that. We had this big hullabaloo once because at my work, because you know how the cell phone companies have the prepaid cards?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we put the cards out, the cards are worth 1 cent. The value is what you put on the card. So this guy literally tried to fight with the store manager to get the store manager to give him the card for 1 cent. And the guy was like, and the manager was like, no, the card itself is worth 1 cent. If you want it, you can take it, but we're not putting any money on it unless you pay for the money. And it was
then they make them pay in cash, right?
He was right. It's false advertising. And all that jazz.
I love it when people think they're a professor and they just have you. They're like, oh, I just have you. No, that's not the way the world works. I worked all throughout my 20s. I worked in like fast food. I worked in restaurant business. I became a waiter because I like talking to people. And people will try to get anything on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to be fair, the plastic cards are probably worth a penny because they're good as ice scrapers in an emergency.
Unless
I've had to scrape my windshield with a credit card quite a number of times.
They're good for that light. They're really good for that light frost, but for serious ice, they'll shatter. They're not going to take care of some of the ice we get around here.
Pot's legal. I use them to roll joints.
So, Kitty, you were saying something about a Atheist Convention you want to go to? Which one was that?
Oh, since American Atheists. They're having their yearly convention in town, and I was going to try and go.
Oh, so it's right near you. You don't have to travel for it this time.
No. Yeah, that's why when I put that up, I was basically just putting it up for the cost of admission. But then somebody pointed out to me, hey, they have this reduced income ticket that's like half price. You could get that. I was like, I didn't even see that. So. Well, I was perusing through it, and I saw fixed income. I'm like, well, I'm not fixed income, so that doesn't apply to me. I didn't finish reading it where it said the rest of it was like or low income.
Well, that's cool, and I mean, I know you've been having a hard time with things, and if you need not even a vacation, but at least you get a weekend out, I think it's something people would be willing to help you with.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, it's something I want. It's not something I need. So I'm not gonna. I'm not going to worry too much about if people decide to go and see it and say send me money. I'm not terribly worried about it. And that
You
was
know
the
what,
thing,
though,
like when you said being strapped, and I was like, I'm it's 20 minutes away from my apartment. I don't know if you caught that. It's in town for me.
No, I must have missed that bit.
that's awesome.
I've always wanted to go to their conventions, but they've always been far away.
Well,
What was that noise?
I know, I'm reading.
I'm here in a very cold apartment and I'm freezing to death right now.
I'm
It's, just,
sorry.
it's really nasty.
I wish I
Yeah,
could
well-
send you my Amish heater.
What's an Amish heater?
In the 90s, they used to have an infomercial for heaters that were made by the Amish,
Oh,
and
Oh.
it's just a well-built cabinet with a with a heater inside of it, and you plug it in the wall. It has a
gotcha.
fake fire on it. And when my dad passed away, I discovered that he was obsessed with the Home Shopping Network, Best Buy, and and infomercials in general. And I discovered an Amish heater, and I laughed because all throughout my teenage years, we used to make fun of infomercials. You know, we'd always say,
Mhm.
"Who buys this crap?" You know, it was my father. It
Well,
was
you
my-
know, this is one of those things a lot of people don't think about. But have you ever seen those infomercials where the person that's like displaying the item, like they're trying to pour cereal one-handed and they flip the bowl all over the place or all that, and you're
Yeah.
just like, that's so ridiculous. Who can't do that? Well, somebody who has a weak hand or can only use one hand might not be able to do that.
So true.
Yeah, somebody pointed out to me that a lot of those, as seen on TV products,
Mm-hmm.
are things that were originally developed for people with some kind of disabilities, and that then they just try to mass market them to bring the price down for production.
Yeah, well, they have to mass market them in order to produce them. Period.
I
Yeah.
still have the claw. I use it all the time. It's awesome. Do
I
you guys
use one of
remember?
those at work.
I love the claw.
What's the claw?
Oh, let me go grab. Let me see. It should be on the outside of this door.
Yeah,
I'll go
the
grab it.
garden claw to pull weeds.
Okay. Yeah, I remember
it
that.
had a handle that you turn on it.
Yeah.
You push it in the ground and you turn it.
Does it really work?
Yeah, as long as the blades aren't bent. Yeah, still to this day, as long as the
Oh.
teeth.
I was thinking of a slightly different claw. I was thinking about the one that you use to pick things up or reach things on high shelves.
I have one of those too.
I use one at work. They store used some at my work so that when we're at the door doing our job and there's trash on the floor, instead of having to bend over and hurt our backs, we can just use that to pick it up.
I was thinking of a character.
She's too short to reach the top shelf of the cabinets.
I was thinking the claw was one of the characters from Get Smart many years ago. Was one of
No, that was Inspector Gadget.
The claw.
The claw was Inspector Gadget, the kids' cartoon.
I might now
Dr.
that
Claw, if you please.
So this was way before Inspector Gadget ever existed.
are you talking about the Green Hornet?
No, Get Smart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Mage Grey Wolf was saying, like some of that infomercial stuff is no joke. Like some of that stuff does work.
Yeah, I really thought that the Claw missed a prime opportunity for a commercial. That all they needed was to get a release from Disney to use the soundtrack from Toy Story from that one scene. And just have it all like a couple of weeds sitting in the garden. The Claw is our master. The Claw chooses who will go and who will stay. It was a perfect commercial already written.
I'm a foreman. People look at me crazy. Like I pull that thing out of my truck and people are like, really, bro? It works, man. It works.
I bought. I didn't buy it over the air because I just don't like the idea of doing that. But it was in the stores as well, so I bought it in the store because you can actually touch and feel, you know, and say, well, yeah, this is a piece of garbage
Yeah.
or not. And I bought one of those Hempvana rocket paint things, you know. Have you seen those? It's the guy's holding this thing that's shaped like a rocket ship with fins and stuff. It's really stupid, but the tip of it is an electrode, and you put it on yourself, and you give yourself a shock. It's like a TENS device, you know, a handheld TENS device, and it works. It does exactly what it says it will, and I'm very satisfied with it.
Yeah, I won't buy any of them sight unseen, but like you say, sometimes when they're in the store, I've picked some of those up.
I'm trying to think though, because I have a lot of duds too. Let me look around. There are some duds that like,
Oh, and the other TV product I have is the you don't see it on anymore, I don't think, but it's this window cleaner rod handle thing for your car. That's a pad on a stick, and the pad,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
has you know, a movement and stuff like that. It really works well to clean your windshield. You know how it's always so fucking hard to get all the different angles and crawl all over to clean the windshield. This thing, you can just sit there in your driver's seat and just and clean it up. It's really nice.
I said this in one of my videos, but be careful when you order European things in Amazon. I thought I was ordering a full-size mat, and I got this.
Oops.
You got what?
You-
Wait, let me see again.
It's cool because it works as the mouse pad. Like I can cut on. I have a huge mat on my desk here. I have my sewing machine here. You can kind of see it.
Didn't
You
they
know,
tell dimensions?
By like 12:30 at night, I'm emotional, and I've been smoking weed since 8 o'clock at night.
It's a
Let's be
common
real.
thing you run into on Amazon.
I'm during the day. I'm responsible
I
all
know
day
somebody
long.
who did the same thing, that they bought a cat tower because they had seen this one at the pet store, but what they bought was somebody had basically duplicated the exact same cat tower at half the size. So
Yeah,
the thing was only like 2 feet tall,
I
and that, you know, the perch was too small for the cat to even sit on.
wonder if
Oh.
cats get tower envy.
And you know, I miss Doc too, because he was there. The embarrassing moment, like I bought a biker vest. It's a conceal and carry vest. It's a tough vest. I bought a double extra large. I wanted it to be past my pockets. I put it on, and Doc was like, "That's not an extra large." It was small. I like it. I still wear it. It's the same size as this vest. I wanted something a little bit bigger, but I got burnt. But it happens. I like tight clothes too, but
I shop a lot on Etsy, and I've been satisfied with every single thing I've ever bought on Etsy. People, it proves that people are honest, and they're not interested in ripping you off.
Well, Etsy goes back to the old-fashioned thing that anybody on there survives by their reputation. One bad review can completely destroy their store.
Oh, so true. I sell sewing machines like under my real name. If something happens, like that'll destroy my business. You know, so your name definitely is your reputation. Oh, I'm trying to think. That was the only piece of clothing I've been burnt on from Amazon though, because I know my size and dimensions, even though I'm odd-bodied. But you know, in certain countries, an extra large is, you know, perfect example. I bought a pair of carpenter pants in Montana, and they are double the size of the same size of pair of pants that you would buy in California. Quite literally. It's laughable. When I put them on, I look like I'm wearing I'm wearing my dad's pants. They're so baggy.
I buy a lot of my clothes online from a few different places. There's this one mail order place for women's clothes that has size charts. You know, they say, well, okay, if we call this a size 10 or a size 12 or whatever, these are the dimensions that refers to in this brand. The next brand of dress that they handle, the dimensions are going to be different. And so you get to see the variance between sizes and what one manufacturer will call a size and what the next one will. And it's amazing how broad that that they go. There just seems to be no universal standard for sizing in clothes.
You know, and there should be. We should call us. And you know, if I'm inventing something, take it because we need it. We should have a size called American.
Well, you know, there are supposed to be standard sizes, but just over the years, different manufacturers have, you know, screwed around with the sizes to whatever they thought was their advantage.
Yeah, a lot of ladies brands, for example, will make their sizes smaller so that like you can brag to your friends and be like, "Oh, I'm a size 0."
Yep. Yeah, vanity sizing. That since it's a smaller number on the tag.
I wear size 13 and a half shoe, 13 depending on the brand, and I'm like a 12 and a half, 13 in Converse. I'm a 14 in Nikes. Like each shoe has a different size, but I wear a size 13, you know. And boots, they're pretty much standard.
Well,
I have found a couple companies that are absolutely dead on consistent with their sizing. That if they say it's a 14 in this catalog and 6 months from now it's a different brand and everything, they call it a 16. It's a 16. That their sizes are they check. They make sure that everything is right. So you're never disappointed with what you
that's
get.
good.
I hate to say it, but and it's because it comes from a country that has slave labor, but I wear a lot of Ariat and their sizes are consistent. They're like their boots, if it's a size 13, it's a size 13. It'll fit. And so it kept me coming back to that brand because they're consistent. Because Nike, isn't it? And you know, I didn't own a pair of Nikes until I was 38 years old. So it's not like I always wore skate shoes or Vans or something. But Nikes
You really take a size 13 shoe?
Yeah.
Didn't you say you're only like 5'10"?
I'm 5'9".
Boy, that's a big foot for the height.
This is my boot. I'm great at swimming too. And I don't have to be. And once a woman gets to know me, I don't have to be charming. Let's just put it that way.
Let's see, a size 13, that would be about a 15, maybe 15 and a half in women's size. You better never go into being a drag queen.
Hollywood Boulevard, good old Hollywood, California. There's a very famous shoe store where they have pumps in any size. You can get.
When I was getting married back in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, I was in California. I was in Central California, you know, and I went to this place. I can't remember the name, but it was a plus size women's boutique that you find in the mall. It's like Lane Bryant or something like that. Maybe it was Lane Bryant.
Yeah.
And it was probably Lane Bryant now. But I was there and I was having some trouble with with two things, with the shoes and the bras. And the girl's like, she slips me a card and she's like, try this place out. It's on San Francisco at South Street. You'll find things. And I'm like, okay. So I go. And I get there, and there's stuff all over the place. Guy behind the counter's pleasant as punch. I'm finding things to fit me. I'm in the dressing room trying on some negligee because I was getting married, you know? And my sister and I stepped out in something else to kind of like show my sister, and a guy walked in the door, walks up to the counter with like 9-inch black stilettos, puts them on the counter and says, they're too small for me. I need a bigger size.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was when it dawned on me. I said, this is a shop for drag queens.
We have a very famous one out here, and like, because I have a really odd torso. So that's what got me into making my own clothes, because I have a weird oblong body, and they have shirts there that fit me because I wear a lot of long sleeve. So I go to the drag queen store because they sell black long sleeves and stuff, like undershirts, you know.
And what did you say your shoe size was?
13 and a half, depending on the brand.
Well, fuck. I'm a 12 in men's.
Well, that means you're about a 10, and that means you're about a 10 in women's. That's not that big. You can get those anywhere.
I was about to say, my sister, and you know, we don't get along, so I'm gonna tell her secrets because we hate each other. But she has, she's like 5'4", and she's a hobbit too. She has a giant foot. Like, I think she wears an 11 in men's or something.
Yeah.
And she's like,
I'm
comfortable.
a 10 and a half in women's, and I haven't had much problem finding shoes. I'm just getting used to that whole thing about that, the dress sizes have no consistency between different brands.
Like,
So especially now that so many places don't have changing rooms anymore, it's really hard to figure out what's going to fit.
Well, then just do it in the aisle. That'll teach them.
So true. But back onto what Jenny was saying, brands don't have a universal size, and I'm saying they should make American, because I've traveled around and we're just taller, bigger people,
Yeah.
And so if something's made in a different country, it's not necessarily going to be our size. And I didn't run into that until COVID happened, and I had to start buying stuff online. And I realized, like, if it comes from a certain area, I have to get like a 4XL, or I'll pull out my vest in a minute. It's half of the size I thought it, because I wanted something I could ride with, but this one I can go fishing with it.
Yeah, that's what bothers me is, it's like people have pointed out like stuff they've seen on Amazon that they thought I would like, and it's like, yeah, it's nice, but how do I figure out what size I need?
Well, a lot of places now, they've recognized that there is a lot of discrepancy, and they take the time to have their sizes listed that they're available in. But then they also have a size chart, which lists that size and then the actual dimensions of it, and those are generally pretty reliable. So always look to see if they have a sizing chart beyond whatever size that they're saying it comes in.
That is true. And like I said, I've only been burnt one time for real on Amazon as far as clothes.
And I told you long ago, Perp, that you got to have Sloth Girl take your measurements. You got to embarrass yourself and let her measure you. And when you got those numbers,
she's been taking my measurements every month because I've been waiting to see if there's any changes in anything.
Okay.
And I'm still hoping that something's going to change more, but so far the hormones don't seem to be having much effect.
You're a baby. You've been on them for a couple months.
7 months now.
Even time. I'm still finding changes after years.
Don't make me pull up
but after more than 6, I'm seeing all these other people posting online that after 3-4 months they're measuring changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been 7 months now, and I have not found anything that is, more than a change that will vary back and forth over the course of a month.
Okay, so first off, I'm gonna put my coach hat on for a minute. First off, you shouldn't compare yourself to other people, and this is nothing I don't tell myself, because I do the same thing sometimes. And there's a YouTuber I watch, and she, over the course of a year and a half, has literally transformed, and I mean it's amazing how much she's changed, but it took a year and a half to show any change at all. And the whole time she's like, nothing's gonna happen. And then if you watch her videos now, she's glowing because she knows she looks like, she's everything that she knows that she was, So you got to give yourself time, is what I'm trying to say. You can't
Well, I've heard that a lot of sometimes, and I'm not 100% sure, of course, because I don't know, that a lot of times when people talk about changes early on in transition, that it's a lot of wishful thinking, and it's not necessarily like.
Well, yeah, I'm sure a good amount of it is kind of a confirmation bias thing.
Yeah, like now, like if you look at people like Adam, for example, and they've got like pictures a year or 2 years apart, you can see a difference. But like somebody's talking about like, oh, I've been on it for a week and I already feel better. And I look different. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not sure it's going to work that fast. But if you feel better.
One thing that Twitter does, that not Twitter doesn't do it, but the Twitterites, twats. Let's see, twits. Let's see if you're on Twitter, you're a twit, right? Anyways, there's a lot of these stupid challenges they have. What did you publish a picture of yourself a year ago, publish a picture of now. that kind of thing. And but then they have this 10-year challenge, and you see some trans men and women that will post for like a 10-year change, and it is just unbelievably dramatic what hormone therapies does to people over time. Everybody's different, and for some people it'll take 3, 4, 5 years for stuff to really be radically different and wonderful, and other people it seems to have to start happening in 6 months.
Well, and that's part of it. I'm seeing these people on Twitter who are posting the results 3 to 6 months in, and
should never compare yourself.
And I know, I also know part of it has to do with my age, that the people who are transitioning much younger are likely to see results faster.
Youth is always wasted on the young, as they say. In today's world, it's not easy to not compare yourself. I come from a land of overachievers. I had to get off of Facebook because it seemed like every single one of my friends was so successful that it was annoying. Or people I grew up with.
And there's also the thing that people aren't always honest. They're not, I shouldn't say it like that. It's not that they're dishonest. It's that they're not showing everything. They're not showing social media is always going to be the highlights for most people.
Oh yeah.
So true.
Yeah, like somebody's making 15,000 a year and they round it up to 20. It's a little dramatic.
Right.
But I used to have season tickets to the Kings, which are on right now, and I do not go anymore because Isaiah has aversion to loud noises because of ASD. So I can't take him to an arena where a siren's going off and people are screaming, so I don't buy season tickets anymore. And sometimes when I see the people on Facebook, it reminds me of when before I had a kid. It reminds me when I used to have a life, and I'm not mad about it, but
I'll be right.
Yeah.
You save yourself.
And of course there's all the tricks that they use, for the ads for those diet campaigns, that if somebody's sucking in their stomach or just taking the picture from a different angle or something.
So because my mom has always been a bigger woman, and I've watched her struggle over the years, and I always tell her, time and time again, they bust a lot of these places. They'll get a woman who's a little bit large, and then they'll get someone who looks like that person skinny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I've caught that in some of the diet product ads.
I'm one of those people who needs proof. You can't just show me pictures. I'm really crappy when it comes to that, because I've watched my mom go through every crash diet you could possibly think of over the years.
Well, and even more so, with the photoshopping now, that they can edit the pictures to make somebody look skinnier.
So I don't know if this is true, but a friend of mine told me that Khloe Kardashian has this software that makes her look skinny.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something that all the Kardashians have been caught using, photoshopping some of their pictures.
No, but when they're streaming, supposedly it makes them look a little bit more slim than what they are. I don't know. I don't follow them because I consider that church. So I don't follow that whole, all those people. I'm not into famous people, even though I'm from LA.
Yeah, I've never understood why somebody gets that obsessed with celebrities.
Well, it would be one thing if it was a celebrity that had done something.
I worked at a Starbucks in West Hollywood, and I met I lurked all over LA, and I met a lot of famous people, and they're just people like you and I, and I cannot reiterate that more than Matthew Perry used to come into the Starbucks that I worked at, and he would sit on the patio like a sad guy, and no one would approach him. He would just sit there, and he's a big dude, so you can't miss him,
Who?
Matthew Perry, the guy from Friends.
Oh, okay.
He's huge.
Not Chandler. The other one.
Yes.
Not Ross either. I can't remember his character's name.
Neither can I. I totally had a brain fart right now. But total nice guy. He was sobering up at the time, but like he would just sit there and contemplate life, and he would like come into Starbucks looking rough. And guess what? I've been there. I've been there. I quit. I haven't had a drink of booze in almost 7 or 8 years, so I know how it is to sober up and just hate life.
But the thing is, I could see people getting like excited over meeting him because he's an actor in a show that they've really liked. I still don't know why the Kardashians are famous, except for the fact that there was a sex tape involved.
We call it famous for being famous.
Yep.
Like they have great promotion.
Well, the sex tape in and of itself wouldn't have been anything, but her father was one of the was that Kardashian lawyer who on O.J. Simpson's trial, so that's where he got his nationwide reputation. And then the sex that this Kardashian woman had was with some musician, Tommy somebody or other.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Tommy
thinking
Lee?
you're thinking of Pam Anderson. I know way too much because I am Hollywood. Kim Kardashian had the sex tape with Ray J.
Who?
That's Brandy's brother.
Oh, okay. I guess I was misinformed.
Brandy.
But
she
whatever.
had a show in the 90s.
It was two notable people.
Oh no, I was. I was.
So it kind of went crazy.
I remember who Brandy was.
And it also was very early before sex tapes really started to be a thing on the internet. So it was a big hit that way, and then it just took off, and they gave him this contract because Hollywood is shallow as fuck, and they think that something like this is a great idea.
Well, they're evil, Jenny.
It was also before people were watching so much stuff online.
So true.
So all the cable channels were desperate to find anything to fill time.
When I dropped out of college, I worked at a tattoo shop on Hollywood Boulevard on good old Las Palmas Avenue in Hollywood. And that's right when Paris Hilton, that's when her sex tape came out.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood is ruthless. They had billboards of a night in Paris. Like they were selling it everywhere. And she fucking would walk around there. Like I saw Nicole Richie more than once.
I'm in a fight.
Oh, that's funny.
And so Hollywood is heartless.
Yeah.
And she's like when people think of LA, they think of her. So man, they don't care who you are, they will scrape you here.
Well, I've been
just my dumb.
I don't know if it's fortunate or not, but I've had occasion to meet a lot of different celebrities over my life, and I have always, well, there was one I didn't do this to, but I tend to treat them like I don't even know who the fuck they are. And I think I told this story once, and Will, I think you heard it. And
yes,
of Oscar Robertson.
Yes.
Yeah, I met him in an electronics store. He was looking at stereos or some shit like that, and we're at the cash register together, and he was kind of like being embarrassed because the clerk was just, oh, it's you, it's Oscar Robertson, and I just looked at him and said, "Are you somebody special?" Yeah, and he smiled. Thought that was great.
Yeah, truth is, if I met a celebrity, I wouldn't know who they are anyway. I don't recognize people I know half the time.
The only time I ever a long time ago, I was in a Rite Aid. I'll just tell the story. And there was this woman on her cell phone, and she was just standing in line. And I'm like, "Are you in line?" And she's like, "Don't talk to me." I'm like, "Hey, I'm just trying to check out." And she's like, "Don't talk to me." I was like, "Are you in line? You need to leave." She didn't know I'm a born Karen. So she looked at me like I'd lost my mind. I pay for my stuff and I leave.
Who was this? Sorry.
Well, I later found out that it was Omarosa.
Oh,
because she later came into the sandwich shop, which it was called Togo's. I worked at it in North Hollywood. It's a California sandwich shop.
Togo's, and I remember them.
I said the word. I'm craving a sandwich now. But she walked in and cursed me and my friend out for looking dirty. we just worked hard every day in our uniforms. Like at the end of the day, we were trashed because we worked 12-hour days.
Oh,
And she
God.
called us dirty.
So
It's-
I've met 4 celebrities in my life. One of them, I don't even know who it was, because we were at some kind of a dinner for me for graduation, birthday, something like that. And apparently in the next table over, there was some famous person. And my dad said, don't bother them. They're eating. And we were like, okay. And then I went to a jewelry show, and one of the people that was there selling some jewelry was, I don't remember her real name, but she was Hot Lips.
Oh, yeah.
Loretta Swit.
Yeah, from MASH.
From MASH, yeah.
Or was it the
awesome.
movie?
No, it was the TV series.
Okay, Loretta Swit.
And then I went to Dragon Con a couple years back, and I met James Callis.
Oh, awesome.
If you guys have seen the Battlestar Galactica reboot.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then you know who I'm talking about.
I have no idea who that is.
He played the character Baltar in the Battlestar Galactica reboot.
Oh, the traitor scum.
Yeah.
One of the greatest I love the conflict with Gaius Baltar. I love when Leodama represents him as his lawyer. I stand for Battlestar Galactica, the reboot.
And I met James Edward Olmos there.
Wow.
Edward.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
I met
cool.
him too. I was at there, and the people who direct the lines made it seem like, hey, you can't get into line with somebody unless you're buying something from them. And he had just stepped out from the back because I guess he had been on a break, and he didn't have a line. And I'm like, fuck it. I knew this guy from before Battlestar Galactica. Like, I'm talking
exactly.
like
American Me.
My thing that I knew him the most for was Stand and Deliver. Was it Stand and Deliver?
I love that movie. Is that
Yes.
when he's the teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about.
Okay. So I went up and I spoke to him, told him, hey, I don't have any money for an autograph or anything, but I just wanted to come up and meet you because I've known about you since those days and big fan and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to buy anything to come say hi to us. And and I was like, oh, okay. So then after I talked to him, I was like, I'm going to go get in line with James Callis. So I got into line with him, and he came. I got up to him and I told him, I said, I just wanted to say, I was like, you're probably one of the most standout actors in that show because of your portrayal of Baltar. I'm not sure if the accent helps. And he looks at me and goes, you American women just love English accents. He said, you all seem to think it makes us smart, and trust me, that's not true.
I've been there. It was culture shock.
But I told him he made the character he's the kind of character that you hate him, but you feel bad for him at the same time.
In the absolutely, he was like the most hated character because he's a sellout. If you sell out the human race, I'd hate you too.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely that show was well written, and they thought it out. Like they recalled stuff from the first season. The whole new Caprica angle was amazing. I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The one celebrity I would really, really like to meet that I never have is Buzz Aldrin.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny you would say that because of where my dad worked. I probably walked past people like that and never even knew it, or like astronauts.
Or for current days, astronauts Mike Massimino.
I know. Who that
I would love to meet him.
The celebrities I've met have definitely been things that only certain groups of nerds would appreciate.
For
Like,
me,
I met-
Massimino is a star because he was the astronaut who stood on the end of the Canadian arm on the space shuttle, and grabbed a hold of a Hubble with his hands and moved it into position. This gigantic multi-ton thing, and just muscled it into where the position it had to be. And I just thought that was so totally cool. And then it turns out he's a nice guy and very funny.
I met Robert Bacher.
Now that you mention it, I think I met one of the Apollo astronauts, but I can't remember which one. It was years ago.
You know, that's like a long time ago. So I live in LA, so it's cheating. I'm trying to stay quiet. But my sister sang the national anthem at a MLS game back when they used to play at the Rose Bowl. And my brother's wife and I are standing in the hall, and all the soccer players walk past us. She looks at me and she's like, I bet these people are really famous in Europe, and you and I have no idea who these people are. You know, I had no idea. They're all famous, multi-million-dollar, soccer players. I had no idea who these people were. I couldn't name one of them.
Elvira.
Because soccer's not my sport. But I will say, I meant, has anyone seen the show Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Yeah, I remember it vaguely.
Mark Curry
remember it.
Mark Curry is a gracious and real human being. Because I've met a lot of celebrities, and they're plastic, like they are fake as hell. But also Tom Cruise is 5'1", 5'2". I'm 5'9".
He's a little creep and a prick.
I've seen him multiple times, and Halle Berry too. She's like 5'3". Like,
well, yeah.
And Vin Diesel. I might get beat up for this. Vin Diesel is 5'6".
Really?
Yes.
I'm taller than Vin Diesel.
What's his name?
Fast and Furious.
The fighter guy, Rocky.
Stallone.
Oh, Stallone.
Yeah, he's like only 5'6" or something like that too.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I always get shocked because in LA, like, people come from all around the world here, so there's a lot of really tall people here. So even with my cowboy boots on, I feel short. So I get shocked when I meet a famous person who's I'm like, I'm taller than. It's weird. It's really weird. I'm trying to think. I've met a lot of famous. Oh, I met Richard Dreyfuss. I always say this, the guy who played T-1000, he was a total a-hole in Terminator.
The guy that played the cop?
Yeah. I don't attribute it to race, but I worked at a sandwich shop, and like the owner gave us free reign, so we were a bunch of like 19, 20-year-old kids who didn't care. So we ran a shop like 20-year-old kids would. So sometimes it was our fault. Like sometimes we were idiots. So I never think, we were kids. I was a baby,
You know that though, he didn't look like he was a very nice person.
Total asshole. And I say that like because I've met countless famous people. I've met rappers, athletes. Most of them are extremely nice people. He's on that short list of where I'm like, wow, you are just an a-hole. Still to this day, like he's like I see famous people all the time. There's a bunch of newscasters that live in my neighborhood. To me, they're famous because they're LA famous because I see them on TV every day. I don't say anything to them except for hello.
There's two Hollywood celebrities I wish I would meet, and just because I think they're so goddamn fucking cool. Jane Lynch, remember her?
Yeah.
From Glee. She was the gym instructor, the big, tall, tough, mean, nasty woman. She's about my age, and she's lesbian. She's just very cool.
Hold on.
And the other one is Ryan Reynolds. I would love to meet Ryan Reynolds and hang out with him for a day or so. I love his sense of humor, and he's pretty cute too.
There was someone there was a celebrity I inadvertently met because my son was at the time in elementary school with his children, and I guess we were the only two dads who would pick up our kids at the entire school, I think. But there was a fight one time. These two women literally almost got in a fight in the parking lot, and I walked up and I was like, "Hey, we're all supposed to be happy. We're getting rid of our children." And everybody started laughing, and I diffused the fight. And after school, he walked up to me. He's like, "You're hilarious." And he became like my friend dad. He looked like a homeless person, but I knew he wasn't poor because he had on $200 shoes. Like most people can't afford brand new Nikes.
Yeah.
But after like 2 or 3 months, one of the moms I would hang out with every day, she grabs me and she's like, "Do you know who you're talking to?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "You dummy, that's Josh Duhamel. He was married to Fergie. He was married to Fergie. He was on a show called Vegas. He's just one of those Hollywood guys, but he had a beard and long hair. He looked like a surfer, and so does everybody else out here."
I've met Dr. Dreamy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, a couple times.
Who's Dr. Dreamy?
Oh, Patrick. What's his name? He was Dr. Dreamy on that hospital show.
McDreamy.
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. Yeah.
He's just as good looking as he is on TV. He really is. He's very nice. He was very, very pleasant, and just definitely acknowledged a little guy like they were just any other person in his life. And stuff.
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah, Patrick Dempsey, and I met him at racetracks and stuff like that, because their team and our team was on the podium at the same time, So, so it was kind of cool. I've met Paul Newman at the racetrack, and that was the coolest thing. This was way back when, in the old days, when road racing was not thought of as having a bunch of celebrities and stuff in it like it is today. And it was just one early Saturday morning. We were up there, our crew, and it was like 7 a.m. or something like that, 6:30, and everybody is just dragged out. And in those days, everybody slept in tents and stuff like this, not these huge cruisers and stuff. And even a guy like Paul Newman did.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we just sat together at the food place and just sat and sucked a coffee and talked about racing in the track a little bit, and it was like totally cool.
With an absolute legend.
Oh yeah. I didn't treat him like I didn't know him.
I found the name. The astronaut that I met was Charles Duke he was the pilot of the Apollo 16 mission in 1972 and the 10th person to walk on the moon.
Oh, awesome. That's famous.
So you met somebody who's actually been to the moon.
Yeah.
No, Apollo 17 was the last flight.
That's awesome.
No, I didn't say anything about last.
Oh, I thought you said last. I'm sorry.
It's why I'm coughing. Did anyone ever watch? Remember, I'm LA and I do super LA stuff sometimes. Did anyone ever watch the soap opera Passions?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Oh, come on.
I never was a big soap opera person.
I was. It's because I hung out I was a very sick child because of my asthma, so I hung out with my mom a lot, and it shows sometimes. But I watched. I absolutely love soap operas. But as an adult, my friends and we would actually smoke, and we would watch this. And working at that crappy sandwich shop, I met Lindsay Hartley. She I'm trying to think if she was in Wicked, but I don't know if people go to stage shows. I'm trying to think.
What's
what else
the name again?
Lindsay Hartley. Let me see whatever stuff she's been in. I'm trying to think. But she is beyond, like, when I saw her in person with no makeup on, and I knew exactly who it was, and I told her, I was like, you may think this is weird, but I'm a dude, and I love your show. And she looks at me and she's like, this is LA. That's not strange.
So she was in Smallville. She played Mad Harriet.
Mad Harriet.
She is the most gracious, nice. She told me that I was good looking to the point where, and it never happened again. I got weak in my knees. She grabbed my hand and she's like, "You're gorgeous." And I was like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you." Like, she was the nicest person. But I think she had brown people in her family, or she came from somewhere where just like she appreciated, she'd come in all the time and stare at me.
Well, you're a very good looking man, so that's not
Thank you.
surprising at all.
She just was so kind to me, and I was at a really bad place in my life, and she, like, her coming in being kind to me, that really helped me out. That really helped. Like, she was just, still to this day, I absolutely think she's an awesome, and her because the whole cast would come in, so her husband would come in, the guy who played the first Chad, like, he I was like, oh, you play the first Chad and everything. He's like, yeah, I do. He wanted to go out after he took me saying you're awesome in the wrong way. He wasn't my type. No, he looked like me. Like, I don't want to date anyone that looks like a relative. I'm sorry. So if we look alike, I'm sorry.
Have you ever seen those, like, you can occasionally find these things where they'll show you pictures of couples and they look like twins?
Yes.
And I'm like, that's just so creepy. I couldn't. Mm-mm.
My brother,
Doppelgangers are amazing. There's a guy up in this neck of the woods who looks just like Aaron Rodgers.
Oh wow!
I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers even says this is like looking in a mirror. And the guy
awesome.
goes to Packer games, of course, and so people are always following him around and all this kind of shit until they realize that he's not actually Aaron Rodgers. It's really funny. And it's just amazing how accurate of a doppelganger he is.
I couldn't, for as much as people think that I'm in love with myself, I couldn't date myself. But I've seen couples, straight couples, like that look. My brother and his wife look alike to the point where when my brother and her brother are standing next to each other, they look alike, and it's kind of creepy.
I wish I looked as good as my face avatar.
I'm with you there. I wish I could look as cute as my avatar, but
let me see if my old picture on here. Oh wait, is. Hey, that was me 2 years ago. Spoiler. I don't necessarily look like that. That was 2 years
pre-COVID
ago.
body.
Yeah.
Jeez, well, that's pretty hot.
Oh yeah, I get buff. Man, you have to be buff out here. You have to. We go to the beach a lot. The sun, like, I get beach body ready every year, and COVID taught me to appreciate food. I've gained 45 pounds in 2 years, almost 50. Almost 50. But I've started.
If I get out to LA, would you do me? You can be rough.
Jenny, I'll ruthlessly do ya. We can have hotel sex.
We could make a video.
I have my own house. My neighbors are used to my insanity. They wouldn't even react.
Yeah, it's just my dumb luck that of all the dozens of sex tapes I've made, none of them have gotten famous.
Oh, I'm trying to.
I have never made any kind of sex tape. I've never taken any pictures of myself or any partner's nude. I just cannot do that. I don't want anybody to see my body. I want the lights out with anybody I'm having sex with.
I'll tell you,
we have entered uncomfortable territory for the asexual in the group.
Oh,
I'm just kidding, mostly.
When I was younger, I felt like an ugly duckling, and so when I got older, I hit a gym, and I went full whore. So now, but the older I get, like, I could care less. I don't know. I've embraced my dad body. I'm not trying to impress other people like that. Like, I'm too old for all that.
Hey, I'm just flattered that anybody would want to look at it.
True. Trust me, every once in a while, like, this is such an embarrassing story, but it's funny. I was with my mom and my son, okay? And we were at a restaurant. And these women were like, because I wear a cowboy hat, they're like, oh, that's a hot cowboy. They're like, giddy up. I'd ride that cowboy. And I look at my mom. My mom looks at me, and I was like, "Still got it." I walked out of that restaurant so cocky. I was floating out of that. So it's okay if you slap my ass every once in a while and tell me I'm still pretty.
Giddy up, buddy.
I'm getting to that age where I don't care anymore, though. And my 40 again birthday is coming up. I'm warning everybody now. I'm gonna be 40 again. So if you ask me in 6 months how old I am, I'm gonna say I'm 40.
Well, I keep telling everybody that Sloth Girl is 29, and no awkward questions about how her daughter is older than she is.
I've officially hit that age where I'm just gonna stop saying how old I am. I'm gonna round it.
I never understood the whole thing about age. It's like, I am 42. I have got no problem telling anybody that if they ask. It's still rude to ask, but if you ask, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you I'm like 29 or something.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it either.
I could pass for 29. Like, sometimes, like, once I was in the break room talking to somebody and I said something about being married, and my coworker looked at me and goes, "You were married?" And I'm like, "Yeah, in 2000." And she's like, "How old are you?" And I told her 42, and she's like, "I wouldn't have pegged you as a day over 25." And I'm like, "I'll take it. I'm not going to complain."
Yep.
Oh, Pirate Kitty, you and I, we're around the same age.
That's like my doctor, my internal medicine doctor just retired, and with the time when she told me at a regular appointment, I looked at her and I just said, "How old are you?" And she said, "Well, I'm 62," and I was just absolutely flabbergasted because I have assumed that she was in her late 40s for all the years I've been seeing her. And I just could not imagine that she was that old. She was in such wonderful condition. And I'm talking about skin. That the skin is what ages you. And she doesn't have a single fucking wrinkle, and her skin is perfectly clear, and it doesn't look like it's thinned out at all. And it's just amazing.
It's funny. I almost took my beard off today, but then I had a talk with myself. Like I need to embrace the gray. Because my chin is just every time it grows back, it's even more and more gray. But you know what? I like it.
Yeah, the skin is the one advantage I've had, and that's just 50 years of avoiding sunlight is finally paying off.
My dad was of Nigerian origin, so it's just cheating on my half. That's why I like growing facial hair is almost me admitting my age. Like when I laugh when I get carded, I always say thank you. And it's funny. I always get carded when I'm having a bad day. Someone will card me, and I'm like, "Oh, you think I'm young? Thank you so much."
Well,
and I'm sincere about it.
I haven't come out publicly about being trans yet, but I have had a couple of people in the building, just kind of do a double take at me, and it's like, "Oh, without the beard, you look so much younger."
Oh, facial hair absolutely ages people.
Yeah, that's.
I know when my mom shaved her beard, I swear she lost 10 years.
That's why my boyfriend won't shave his beard, because he says, "I look like a 12-year-old." I'm like, "No, I don't want to see it without a beard, anyways."
Well, also it's weird because it's like, the hair on top of my head really hasn't changed very much. I've got a couple of gray streaks, but mostly it's still brown. My beard came back almost completely gray.
I look like a different person.
Well, if you really want to know, I'll send you some next time I show
you. I look like a completely different person with facial hair. I do. And I messed up the sides today, so I shaved them down completely. Which means this is probably going to be coming off soon.
But that's like women as they get older. Almost every woman I know, I've seen watch go through this. They'll have, shoulder length or below shoulder length hair, and they just kind of reaches, oh, I'm fed up with this, and so they get it trimmed, shorted to some kind of short bob, or something like that, and then they decide to get it cut even shorter, and so now they're into some like pixie cut or something like that, and they just get it cut shorter and shorter and shorter as they get older, and it's like, why are you doing this? Well, I don't want I don't want to dye my hair anymore, and I'm gray, so I don't want to it's like, gray hair is lovely. Why do people want to cut it off? So I don't get that.
I feel like it makes me look like Doctor Strange. I like it. Do you know what though? I'll tell you, like with my actual hair, because I'm balding, I don't grow it out. But my father had this perfect, what we call it, a skunk streak, and it kind of looked awesome. And as he got older, the gray kind of took over his hair. My skunk streak goes from ear to ear. It's like a skunk rainbow. So I will never grow my hair out again. It's like this gray division in my. It's gross. It's gross.
Well, name it your basket handle.
It's exactly what it is. Oh, and I didn't realize like I'm bald. Like I'm bald. I'm like, but I have the friar tuck. It's bad. I look like a 1970s soul singer. It's not cute.
I saw a picture of some guy who this is fairly recent. Maybe it's still floating around the internet, and you'll run into it. But the guy keeps the back of his head shaved, except for enough that it looks well. Then he had put on a photorealistic tattoo of somebody's face. Well, it was his own face, and so it looks exactly like him, front or back. And he grew his hair so that it covers the tattoo just like his normal hair does in front, and used some of the side or hair on the sides and grew it into enough that it represents his beard, and it was really kind of funny. Awful lot of work for.
I was about to say that's a lot of effort.
Yeah,
because in the early 90s. Oh man, I'm really about to show my age. So back in the day, I had a flat top, and you were cool if you like had your name in it, if you like had a design or something. But if you slipped, you'd be wearing some like blocky thing on your head,
That was something that always kind of made me jealous of. Well, I'll say African American hair, but it's just tight, very tight curly hair. Is that you can do that? You can write names in the hair and stuff like that, or do these really cool graphics and stuff. I think they're beautiful. They're wonderful to look at, and it's amazing the artistry that goes into some of them.
Man, I really am aging myself. I wanted my hair to be like MC Hammer and Bobby Brown. So when Bobby Brown cut like a step in his hair, I did too. I learned how to cut hair because I watched way too much MTV and BET as a kid. And the only reason I had BET is because my parents had cable, because it wasn't readily available back then. Man, this conversation is so much better than how it started. I appreciate all of you for this. I needed this today.
well, I'm glad we could help out. I'm still annoyed that my ex made me cut my hair more than 15 years ago, and I never was able to grow it back to even half the length it used to be. I used to have a ponytail that hung down to my belt. Now I can barely get it to my shoulder blades.
That stinks when your hair, like, that's why I always say, oh, I miss my fro, because one day my hair just stopped growing.
I mean, it's not really bad the way it is. It's just, I miss that it used to be that much better.
Yeah. I need a haircut. My eyebrows are getting huge.
Well,
yeah, they look okay.
because Kim Kardashian made my eyebrows popular.
Oh, and there we go.
full circle. The one thing I will say about someone like that, as someone who is constantly like I have a real job, but I'm selling sewing machines. Like I sell my clothes. I am a real capitalist. So I can appreciate someone like Kim Kardashian who made money out of thin air. And
Oh
she
yeah, her
So-
sister, her little sister. Which one is she? Developed the
It's
makeup
okay,
company.
you're not in trouble.
That she's become a billionaire. Literally,
that's what I'm
billionaire
saying. Like I'm
from
taking
makeup.
notes.
Like good job,
Yeah. I can't be a hater about that. Like I'm taking notes. Like oh, Husqvarna, brother sewing machine, and I now own a ton of singers. So if you're out there, I own a ton of singers.
Yeah, Sammy just headbutted the wrong box, and I've got to pick up about 2,000 Lego out of the carpet.
Yikes.
I met these kittens recently that I'm so torn. I want one so bad.
Okay, don't get one, get two. If you're going to get kittens, don't get one alone. It's always best if you get two from the same litter.
Yeah, and they're these little tuxedo cats, and they're both so cute, and they actually seem to like me. They don't pick up on my fried cat vibes.
I think it would be good for you.
I'm not responsible enough to have pets.
Well, cats don't take a whole lot of care, really.
Yeah, and I'm not even that responsible.
Oh.
I just don't care enough.
Okay. Well, it's good you know that about yourself.
I've been talking about that with my boyfriend about cats, and I'm like, if we get a pet, I want to get an older cat. The kind that people just leave in the shelter, and they're like, oh, I want a kitten. Well, what about that poor little old cat over there that just wants cuddles and a warm place to sleep? So I've kind of decided that if we adopt a cat, we're going to get an elderly or an older adult.
Yeah, I'd rather cuddle with a person.
Sammy's been a lot more active since we moved, so I really have been thinking that I should probably get him a companion. Except I'm a little worried because the last couple of cats he was with, they bullied him. So it's, finding one that's compatible, that's somebody he could play with, that he wouldn't wind up hiding under the bed all the time again.
How old is he?
He's getting on senior. He's about 10 years old now.
But that might be really rough for a cat that old.
Yeah, but he's gotten like kitten active now. I mean, when we were in Michigan, he laid around a lot. He didn't play that much, and now it's like he wants to play all the time, and I don't have the time to keep him entertained.
Maybe he's having a midlife crisis.
But like Pirate Kitty was saying, that I've never been for getting kittens. I would just go to the Humane Society and try to find another adult cat. It's just finding somebody he would be compatible with.
Do fostering.
Oh, we have a lot of that here. That's a good program.
Like what you basically do is you take care of the cat until somebody else finds a home, and then if you just so happen to find that they get along, well, you could decide to keep that cat, and it could just be a foster fail that you keep. You know what I'm saying? Like it would end up being like a trial period. If they don't get along with Sammy, then you just find them another home, or they'll find them another home.
Well, although in the meantime, you could wind up rotating in several different cats that you could have all sorts of problems with. You never know what kind of cat you're going to get, if they're going to be destructive, if they're going to try to spray, all that kind of stuff.
That's true.
Do you know that's one thing that we don't have out here anymore are pet stores? Except for, like, I don't think PetSmart even sells animals anymore. Except for fish.
You don't find pet stores almost anywhere nowadays. It's really a shame.
Oh, we've got both PetSmart and Petco here in town.
We've got PetSmart and Petland and Petco.
We do too,
Yeah, but
do you,
those are all supplies for supplies,
Exactly.
not for the actual.
Well,
know-
PetSmart used to carry at least a lot of small animals.
Yeah,
do you have like
Like for
do you have, like,
dogs
a-
and cats, they had like an adoption area that somebody would like bring in animals once or twice a week.
when I was a kid, we had a local pet store where everybody in town went and got their animal. It was like the one place where you bought your dog.
So we've
Yeah.
got the PetSmart and the Petco or whatever. They'll have smaller animals, rodents and
Yeah, things you keep
That-
in tanks and cages.
yeah. The Petland that's next to where I work, they do sell puppies.
Oh, awesome.
But they don't sell kittens, but that they have a adoption thing where people bring in cats that are up for adoption, and then they.
One of the like I'm on both sides. I'm just anti like people that overbreed dogs or have puppy mills.
Puppy mills.
Yeah, that like it drives me insane. So I'm okay with corporations having stores.
Well, but the corporations often buy from those kind of places.
Problem. See, that's the problem.
So
Yeah.
that's why. Well, any animals I've gotten, they were either strays, somebody moved and had to get rid of them, or they were ones I picked up at a shelter.
See, I'm against the idea of puppy mills, but responsible breeders are a different story.
Yes.
Yeah. There are, but I'm even very skeptical, let's say, of the so-called responsible breeders, because I did a lot of work for a woman who bred dogs and for a number of her friends. And it's like even the ones that on the surface looked responsible, because I saw the inside of their houses when people weren't looking. I was like, yeah, there's things going on here I would be really uncomfortable with.
So I almost have the same experience, Purple, and I worked on a horse property because they put an ad in the paper like, hey, do you know how to work on I need help with horses, and it was semi-responsible breeder, and I still have nightmares of things I saw there. It was just disgusting. Still to this day. They loved their horses, but they were making money off the dogs, so they treated them more of a commodity and less as like I'm like I could care less about people, but when I see a dog, I will stop on the street. I'm one of those people.
And that's what I saw a lot of was that the dogs that were scoring well in the shows were getting a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And the dogs that, especially the ones that maybe had gotten a little older or whatever, that weren't bringing the trophies home from the shows anymore, were getting neglected.
Oh, I had a friend that had a rescue greyhound, and it was the most scared dog ever. I felt so sorry for that dog because it was abused. It was an ex-racing dog, and it was just abused.
I was reading something that in Australia they have adoption programs where people can adopt ex-racing dogs, but by law they are required to be muzzled whenever they go outside because they're not socialized. They're bred for chasing the target, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, there are groups in the U.S. that have programs for that too, for adopting the retired racing dogs.
But they have to. They do have a program where the dog goes through training, so that it can have a special collar that means that it doesn't have to wear the muzzle. But it's like it's so amazing, a dog that can't figure out how to walk upstairs because it's never had to in his entire life.
Wow.
It's like you have more than two legs. Let me see. I'm gonna find that video.
When I was younger, my dad took me to a processing plant where they take the cows, and it should have made me a vegetarian, but all it made me do was feel sorry for animals.
Well, but that's an awful good thing to experience.
Oh, it was awesome.
If we could teach more children that, it would solve some problems, I think.
Like I know how to if you brought me a deer, Jenny, I could put it on the table for you.
Oh, I could too. My dad was a butcher.
But sometimes I think my dad was trying to toughen me up, and instead, like he was not an abusive guy, so he would do these just really toxic things, like take me to a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Well, I got a lot of that growing up, that they, kept wanting to try and toughen me up and make me more manly. You can see how well that turned out.
Yeah, but like I look back, because a lot of the things, like my dad was awesome, but he also came from a different era, Hey, Kitty.
It's like, wait, I'm already here.
We got kitty cats now.
Hello.
Yep, we have
Kitty,
Pirate
we can't
Kitty
see your face. We
and
can't
Kitty
see your
sewing
face, Kitty.
and Godless sewing.
You're looking lovely tonight.
I know I had mad plans on sewing, but then I started smoking and it all just kind of went out the window.
You were going to get some sewing done until you get high?
Yeah, because I'm
You
responsible.
were going to cut out those patterns, and bias tape until you get high.
Well, after this, I'll focus, because it's fun when you're baked and you're cutting patterns out and stuff. Like, I'm going to switch a shirt out. I'm going to switch out my Charlie Sheen shirt and put it on a flannel. How's it going, Dick?
Hey, buddy, how are ya?
Chilling.
How are you doing?
I'm gonna go
thanks, Purple, for having me on, girl. Oh, I love joining your stream. This is one of my favorite places to be.
Anytime
love this place.
I forget that you're usually not on Twitter, and I usually don't have Discord loaded.
Yeah. You expect me being the person I am to, be all blah, 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 but I actually shudder towards, social impact and stuff, and I don't deal with it very well. So please send it to me on the Discord, Purple, because I can't take Twitter right now. I can't even log in. It's killing me.
I tend to avoid reading the public areas of Twitter. I'm mostly just on there for belonging to the private groups to keep up with people and get links to the shows.
Same, but I will say I would not know about Mitch McConnell if it wasn't for my doom scrolling 2 hours ago. Because I do not watch the news.
Oh my god. Yeah, when you said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, that's what I said. Oh, I went off earlier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut that. I went off earlier. He's an idiot.
And
No, he's a racist.
This isn't really like that unique a thing to be happening. So it's like, at this point, why is anyone who falls into any minority group voting for a Republican anymore?
Honestly,
also, I'm not shocked. I'm not
because
shocked.
they drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, for years, the propagandists on the right have been working to convince the American public that unions are bad, that capitalism is good, that trickle-down economics is not a fairy tale, and they sold them on this hope and dream of the American dream, where eventually, they will move up in the ranks, and it'll be, that's why so many poor people say they're against a wealth tax or an estate tax.
Yeah,
and it's like, you will never own an estate.
Yeah, that they're going to be millionaires one day.
So
Exactly.
That's the one thing that, of everything I disagreed with my father about, I have never changed my politics significantly, because his main focus was that he knew he would have never been able to support a large family on the wage of a carpenter without the union. So his politics were all about supporting the union.
So I have a question for Professor Kitty. Is Mitch McConnell's state the poorest in the union?
Yes, and 10 of the poorest counties it's either counties or cities, but 10 of the poorest counties exist in Kentucky. And there have been FEMA workers not FEMA, UNICEF workers that have said that they have seen conditions in Kentucky worse than the third world.
I said it earlier, but I was making sure that I was right. I didn't want to talk completely out of my ass.
If you did, you'd still make more sense than half the Republicans I've heard speak.
I'm not shocked. He's a racist. The Sun came out this morning. I'm not shocked. I'm not at all shocked.
Yeah, I don't get how some people have bought into it literally for generations now. That the poor people in the South haven't figured out that in 40 years the Republicans have done nothing that has helped them.
Well, a lot of the poor people in the South tend to be a bit more racist and evangelical, so the dog whistling against race and
the evangelicals are a
abortion
big part of it. That's the Republicans have really weaponized religion to keep getting their vote on things like voting against gay marriage and abortion, regardless of anything else.
The Republican Party has weaponized literally everything. The reason they win consistently is because they have set up everybody other than themselves to be an enemy, to be something to be afraid of, to be something that's coming to ruin your life, to take you over, to double your taxes, to take your guns, and all this kind of stuff. That is, we know it's just absolutely bullshit. But they're so good at their message, they're able to convince people to vote against their own best interest.
Yeah, but with that being their platform, that everyone who is not them is against them, shouldn't that disenfranchise all the minorities?
Well, they're good at dog whistling. They know what the dog whistles are, and so they avoid them.
Propaganda works, though, and they know it. Regardless of what people say, like,
sadly,
propaganda works.
There are still the token minorities in the Conservative Party, where, like, I saw, and Will, if what Mitch McConnell said made you angry, I saw a TikTok that would make you even more angry. You had a black man wearing a chain and collar around his neck, and there was a white guy with a sign with a Confederate flag that said "Slave for Sale." They did this on MLK Day, and they were doing "Watch me whip," and the white guy would whip at the black guy, and then "Watch me nay nay," and the slave, black guy was going like this.
This was a black guy who volunteered for this?
Yes, a black man on MLK Day volunteered for a "Watch me whip nay nay" slave skit.
I gotta say, people here, I showed up to talk to Catnip. Where the fuck is she? What's going on here? I seriously,
really
I mean, Godless, you're one of my favorite people on the internet. Purple, you are one of my favorite people on the internet. Jenny, I love you to death. But where the fuck is?
Catnip?
Where is Catnip?
She doesn't come in my chats that much. It's usually on these chats that I see her.
Yeah. I want. Let's get Catnip in here right now because that's what I was looking for. Damn it.
Who's Catnip? I mean, I know I've been gone for a year, but this is a name I don't even recognize.
Oh,
crazy Catnip. Like I say, I see her, pretty much every time I'm in Beast chats.
Yeah, I don't feel like my anxiety is going off the charts. I need my Catnip. Come on, you got to get in here. I need my Catnip.
Is Catnip in the chat?
Yeah, she was. She was totally fucking around. Come on, get in here. Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
I'd like her to come on. I haven't seen her in a while. It'd be nice.
This is what I was gonna say. It's amazing. I don't know how many generations we are removed from World War II. Name an atrocity, name something. It seems to me like people are more desensitized nowadays. Am I wrong? Am I right? It seems like the younger generation doesn't, like, you find Holocaust deniers just stupidity. Or you'll say certain things and people are like, oh, that didn't happen, or it happened this way.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked that some idiot did that on TikTok. Again, just like Mitch McConnell, because they have lost the fucking plot completely. Oh, Kitty, man, you always bring me such good news. Thank you.
Look, here's the thing. And it goes to the point that I was about to bring up. They want to be the good one. They want the acceptance. They want to think that they're the exception to the rule. It's the same thing that leads to conspiracy theorists thinking they have secret knowledge that nobody else has. It's that desire to be special. So like that guy, it's literally, the people that, he hangs out with, they say, "Oh, I'm not racist. I have a black friend." He's the black friend they're talking about, the one that would literally do a slavery skit on MLK Day.
The reason I don't want to see this person is because if I ever see what they look like and I see this person in person, I'm gonna call them out. So I don't even want to know what he looks like.
Well, that's something that I learned this concept in a video game of all places. But basically, it's really easy to hate a group of people. It's a lot harder to hate an individual. So you can get people that, "Oh, I hate black people," but not Tommy over there. Tommy's not one of them. He's just Tommy. And it's because I don't know.
I grew up in predominantly white area, and I've had people say that to my face. They'll be like, "Oh, but I know William," and because I reflect where I'm from. My inflections, the way I speak, I don't front like I'm from over the hill or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that I'm the same as somebody else. The problem is I don't know how to say it in any other way, but sometimes people get too comfortable. And they do really idiotic and inappropriate things because they get a little bit too comfortable.
I've done that twice. Well,
same.
I worked with this guy. I've been working with this guy for like 10 years, right? And in 2019, his dad died. Early 2019. He comes back and he's talking to me. And I can tell he's depressed and all that. And we're friends. And he starts telling me about the funeral. And God help me, I looked at him and I said, "You don't have to tell me what the funeral was like. I've seen Bebe's kids."
Yeah.
Wait, what was it? What? Say that again.
He started laughing so hard though because I was going for humor. Bebe's Kids is an early 90s movie, and it starts out with this guy at a funeral where he meets his friend's secretary, and it's the ladies are in the kitchen crying and making food and consoling the widow, and the guys are in the living room and on the patio playing dominoes and shit talking the guy, just like, reminiscing and all that. And so I said that because I knew from knowing him that he would find it funny. And he did, but others did not. And I got in trouble. Because I got overheard. I was speaking to him. And only to him, but somebody else overheard it. And it was like, that was an AB conversation. I would never have made that kind of a joke with someone I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, and what Leanne says here, some people just want to please people just to fit into a group.
Exactly. Like that was kind of the point I was getting at,
Yep.
And I don't know, like, it's really sad to see someone debase themselves so much for attention and acceptance,
Yeah. Well, and on the other side of that is that some people, will totally sell out their group for any personal gain. And that's like, people like Candace Owen really make me nauseous.
Diamond and Silk, for example. Another one.
Yeah.
Are they those rappers?
No, they're twin conservative commentators, but they're not as smart as they think they are, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, what did I miss? What did I miss?
Well, like
bringing
Blair
up
White.
Candace Owens of Diamond and Silk. That's what you
Oh, I can't stand Diamond and Silk and Candace. Candace Owens is just angry. She needs a hug and a history lesson. And
Honestly,
Diamond
she's
and
not angry. She's a grifter. Like, she realizes that, being the token black conservative, that
Ben,
she's conventionally attractive, she colorism plays a little bit into it too because she is a lot lighter in color, than some, so that makes her more palatable to the conservatives. She has straightened hair, she presents and articulates herself
straighten hair.
as close to like a white person as a black, she puts on like the persona of a white person, even and tokenizes her own blackness just to essentially make money and get
She's
the
gross,
fame
though.
and
Something I learned
notoriety she
about
wants.
from my fiance was about good hair. That, for black people, having good straight hair was just an easier way to fit into white society.
She's just, she is a grifter, but I put her in the same boat as Ben Shapiro. And they are obsessed with sexuality to the point where I do not understand it. And that's another thing. And I'm not saying this to be old, but I am saying it to be old. Life is not a judge show. You don't have to judge everything. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. You don't have to hate everyone. And I think that Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, they are people who have lost their damn minds, because anything that happens with a trans person, with a gay person, they get a call, and they are there instantly with their shitty opinions. It's boring.
That they spend way too much time worrying about people they probably don't even know.
Neil deGrasse Tyson asked Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro brought up trans people out of nowhere, and Neil deGrasse Tyson asked him face to face, "Why do you care?"
Yeah, well, Fox News, their entire existence is based on telling people who to hate this week.
That's a good one.
Okay. Have you guys seen the short that Ben Shapiro put out where he said, "Let's go, Brandon"? He was wearing like a sleeveless or short sleeve shirt.
No.
He fucking flexes his muscles like this. He's like, "Let's go, Brandon." And he growls. Literally growls, like as he's flexing. I'm like, my dude, no. Like, if ovaries could collectively like shut down, like they fucking blue screened on an old Windows computer, like that is what would do it. Like, I literally felt my ovaries just fucking blue screen, and they nope the fuck out of that.
He's bad for my blood pressure. You know what's funny? I'm more scared that Isaiah is gonna beat him up because he lives around here somewhere. I will inevitably see him, because that's why I try not to like say hardcore stuff around my kid, because my kid is bigger than Ben Shapiro.
Well, just make sure he understands that he has to do it before he turns 17.
Yeah. He's 12. No, but because that Home Depot, I know that Home Depot where he had the wood in the bag, I know where he was standing. So he lives somewhere around here.
Well, let's go find out.
Yeah. I was just getting a hold of Crazy Catnip in the background. I was like, "Fuck this! Come on, get in the damn stream and whatnot." And maybe that won't work. I'm not.
I sent Catnip a link on Twitter. Told her she was being summoned.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. I mean, oh dear God, I'll control myself, and I'll be Yeah, no, I've never controlled myself, have I, Purple, on a stream? That's just bullshit, isn't it? It's just, why even say it? But I really, really, really want Kat to join the stream. It's been a good stream. It's been honest fun, and there's been a little innuendo that just makes it so much fun, right? Come on.
Rock out with your clock out.
So, Will, I need your help. I am going to be doing some research. I need a press that takes the interchangeable dies, so it'll do the hole punching, it'll do grommets, rivets, like snaps.
Yeah.
But I don't know what good ones are good. I want like a heavy duty one, like solid, like a cam snap one or something similar. So if you know of any good ones, just like shoot me a link.
Yeah, Kitty, I actually know a couple of manufacturers to direct you towards from the days that I had my printing business, where we had like roll-in printers and and
bigger than that. Like the ones that they're like kind of cast iron and like they stand up and they got the handle so that you can put your weight behind it.
Oh yeah.
I know a couple of people to introduce you to. I'm not sure that they're going to be price-wise what you're looking for, but they will at least start you on the journey. Yeah. And I totally know a couple of people, they're in China and, so on and so forth, but I think they might be the people to talk to you because they're low production providers, right? You don't have to be talking about 10,000 units. You're talking about 500, right?
Yeah, do small runs.
Yeah. I know a few of those people, Kitty. Maybe we can help each other out, or get it going on.
I would always say do your research because I'm thinking about buying industrial machines.
Yeah.
And
so I'm thinking something like this.
That's sexy.
Like, not this exact one, but because this is just a cheap one on Amazon, but like
So you're
like
looking for the machine to do the work, not to
turn
it off the side.
Yeah.
Because they have interchangeable dies. So there's one for punching holes, then there's one for setting rivets or studs. Which is really good for like straps on a bag because I'm going to be making more bags. I enjoy it. And if I make them out of something like vinyl, it's really thick and it's hard to sew. And you have to do a lot of sewing to secure a strap so that it doesn't like come undone. Whereas with the machine, I can punch a hole through it with that, heavy duty thing and then put a rivet in there. And the rivet will be just as secure, if not more so, than putting a bunch of stitches in there. And it'll be a lot neater and cleaner. Plus, it also has a die for doing grommets. So when I start making my own corset, I will be able to do the grommets for the lacing in the back. So it's basically I know it's going to be a heavy duty expense, and it's going to cost me a pretty penny. Probably a couple $100. But it's something that if I invest in the quality machine, then whatever I need to do, they make dies for the machine for pretty much any type of closure that can be stamped on. So then it's just a question of getting the right dies and the right sizes for the projects that I'm doing. So the one heavy duty cast iron machine will last me pretty much forever. I might have to replace dies if they get worn out, but it's going to take a lot of stuff going through it to wear out those dies. And, the machine itself will not break, because it is heavy duty.
Yeah, I've got
have you ever done grommet setting by hand?
I have my little ghetto tool with the little like it's like a little metal thing, and then you hit it with a hammer, and it's got a little disc that you set underneath it.
You got to get a crocodile.
That's what I was gonna say. I've got a set of various size punches, and I've got a set of a couple of different grommet sets. But yeah, you got to strike them with a hammer.
On my
I
crocodile,
actually have a hammer right down here for that.
Yeah, if you had to do more than a couple dozen of them, it would be rather an intensive job.
Another issue that I run into, I've got this hunk of hardwood down here that I hot glued some like craft foam to the bottom just to keep it, from like sliding around on the floor as much. But you can actually see like the hole punch for my thing. I have to hit it with a hammer, so you can see where I have to punch holes in things. I've got this like it was just a piece of scrap wood from my dad, but it's like solid heavy. I mean, this thing weighs a couple pounds, and it's only like what 18 inches. Well, actually, let me measure. No, it's more than 18 inches. It is. Let's see, that's 18.
It looks over 2 feet.
I'm being lazy, but I recently made 2 vinyl vests.
22 and a
and
half.
I used grommets instead of sewing it, and I just put rope. I used piping.
So, and like if it were a softer wood, it would just punch through it even worse. But, even with this really hard wood, it still punches, holes in it. So having a machine that will do the hole punching that doesn't require me to use a hammer and a little like die punch like tool, especially since I've slipped and I've hit my thumb before, and that's not fun because it's a small target that you're trying to hit. Like, let me see.
Are you kidding me? I almost took my finger off with my razor. At least twice. That's why when I'm cutting, I pay attention.
I've started watching this maker that makes dioramas, and I've seen him a couple times where he's cutting towards himself, and I'm like, no, please don't do that. I don't want to see blood.
Well, it's
Okay,
like,
Kitty, here's a recommendation for you.
Oh, perfect.
I do a lot of hand sewing, so I stab myself all the time, especially when I'm making a vest or I'm doing something emotional.
Awesome. I will take a look at that. So, like, I have a similar one for my grommets as this. This is for doing the little snaps, like little metal snaps. So you've got basically.
Yeah, I've got a little one for doing like shoelace size, and I've got a big one for like doing the grommets for tarps.
On my crocodile, it has interchangeable heads.
Yeah.
It's kind of basic,
So-
but you can get it at Michael's.
This is like, one of those little metal snaps. It's 4 pieces. Like there's another piece that goes here.
Yep.
This is like the bottom part, so the male part and the female part. So it's these little metal snaps here. I have a similar tool for my grommet set, but I have it put away right now. So the smooth side of the button goes in that one, and then you bang this down to flatten out the little piece.
Yeah,
in
to
here.
mushroom
This
out
goes
the
into
stem.
here, and it mushrooms out the little stem. And then this other part, it's a little raised in the middle, and that goes when you're mushrooming out the male end. And this is the size of the target you have to hit with a hammer. And it's short. So you're literally holding this thing like this and then hitting it with a hammer. And I have slipped on more than one occasion. And my grommet set is the exact same thing, but it has another piece that has a hole punch that it's the same size, and it just punches a hole out of the fabric. And that's where the little divots in my my hunk of wood down there came from. Where is my tool?
Okay, one
Sorry, it's
question
gonna bother
for
me.
you. Are you using the right type of hammer?
I've tried it with a rubber mallet and it didn't work very well. It just could not impact enough pressure, so I'm using just a regular claw hammer.
Okay, yeah, that's going to tend to slip and hurt you more. If you could get a hardwood mallet, would probably be the best thing for you there.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely
then
not.
that's going out and the mallet has a larger surface area though, so like I feel like I'm more likely to strike my hand than using an actual like hammer.
Okay, but
Go
if
look
you're
for
looking,
a 12 to 16 ounce ball peen hammer.
That might work. Okay, so here's the grommet one. So this
Yeah.
is the hole punching tool. Like this little
Yep.
opening here is
Yeah,
so
I've
the
got a whole
fabric.
set of those in different sizes.
Yeah, so that when the fabric, when you punch the hole through, it gives a way for the fabric to come out so it doesn't get stuck in there. And then it's got the same, well, similar, like this actually has like a little post on it, whereas the snap one doesn't. And then it's got this other piece that you basically set your grommets on here. You have the bottom part, then the
okay.
fabric, and then the top part, and then you put this on. It's got a hole in the bottom to fit through that, and then bam, 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 and you're done. So I do have this. So every time I have to put eyelets in something for, a grommet or grommets for eyelets or button snaps, I have to do them all individually by
Yep.
hand.
There's
which
another
is why
good
I'm looking into
suggestion
it.
for you. That rather than holding that small piece you're trying to strike with your fingers, you could hold it in a pair of pliers.
Yeah, that could work. It's just this
Katie,
one
let me
is
see the
grip on the top.
thing you got to hold again. I'm sorry, I missed it before.
Oh, no worries. So this is the one that actually cuts the.
Okay, so it's a basic hole punch. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got a little.
Yeah,
gap
but the other
here.
one you were showing for
Scratch
setting
come
pieces
through.
was smaller.
Yeah. So, and then this one is the one for, this is for Grommet.
And your concern is that you're while you're holding it, you're grabbing and punching your fingers instead, hitting your
Well,
fingers and
not
stuff?
so much with this one. This one, I haven't really hit my fingers as bad. It's the snap one because, okay, so just for comparison's sake,
Yeah, that one's
here's
smaller
the
and
size of the one for the grommets.
Yeah.
Here's the size of the one for the snaps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go look at a hardware store and look for various sizes of what's called a chisel holder. It's a ring that the handle screws into, and the tighter you make the screw, the smaller shaft thing it will hold on to, and so therefore your hands aren't anywhere near the tool when you're actually hammering.
Yeah. There's also just, the fact that it's still kind of a pain to have to do each one of these individually. So that's kind of why, I want to get
it
the
depends.
tool.
When you're just doing a couple, those are fine. But if you're doing larger numbers of them, that would get to be a bit much.
Well, if you think the average corset in my size would have 24 grommets for lacing, roughly. And that's only for lacing in the back. If you wanted to do like some decorative lacing on the sides or at the top, then that would be even more. And that adds up. That adds up fast. So,
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I've done a little bit of leather working, which is, where I wound up using those more. That trying to set all the grommets to lace up the leather.
Yeah, because riveting leather is a lot easier than sewing leather.
Yeah.
But oh, actually, I got a new shirt today. I was at Walmart and I saw a clearance section and I was like, that shirt's really cute. It was an $11 shirt, but it was clearance and the tag said it was $7, but it rang up for $1.
Oh,
and
deal.
I was like, and look at this.
Oh, that is pretty.
That is so pretty. And it's actually got gold.
Yeah.
Like gold sparkle.
I
It
like.
is so cute. And it rang up $1. Like it was normally $10 or $11. So it was like 90% off. And I'm like, fuck yeah. I was gonna pay $7 for it happily, but when it rang up $1, I'm like, fucking win. Sure.
That was
Made me
actually
very
what
happy.
what got me most annoyed about getting sick right when I did was that I couldn't go and check the stores for the clearance sales after Christmas. I missed all the after Christmas Lego clearance.
Yeah. There's still some at Walmart because January is when they do their hidden clearances. So you basically just have to go through the aisle and look at the tags.
Yeah.
And you'll see a yellow tag on there with like the clearance price where they've dropped down the price of things.
Yeah.
They don't announce it. It's just they just put the tags up, and then if you happen to see it, then
Well,
you get
one of the things Walmart's done more recently to continue to annoy me is they no longer have the price scanners available. So the stuff on clearance, you can't check what the price you're going to pay is before you get to the register.
Yes,
do
you
you
can.
you have a smartphone? Because if you have a smartphone, they have an app and they built the scanner into the app so you can price check anything in the store through their app.
You gotta get with the times, Purple.
Yeah, the problem is if I sign up for their app, then I've got to give them my information. I don't want to do
No,
that.
you don't.
No, you don't.
You don't have to sign up for the app. You don't have to log into the app in order to, only if you want to place an order through the app do you have to give them any information. You can just download the app and use the scanner or check like locations. So like if you're looking for X Lego set, you can check to see which locations have it available and, get directions to them from the app. But you don't have to give them any information
I
or be
just know
logged
that
in at
they have
all
other
just to price check.
companies that once you sign up for something like that, they start spamming your phone.
Yeah, no, the Walmart app doesn't require you to log in at all in order to utilize it
Even if you're
unless
not
you want to make a
logging in and
purchase.
just giving them your phone number, they can start sending spam to your phone.
But they don't
Right,
put your
They
phone
don't.
number
and if you have a respectable company like Walmart, they will give you the option to opt out of that And
Are
then
we
you
talking
just get
respectable company or Walmart now? Which is it?
We're talking
Walmart's
about a
No,
not a
hey,
respectable
respectable
company like
company,
Walmart,
but
and they will give you the option to opt out, and you opt out, and then nothing comes.
yeah, but you don't have
I-
to give them your phone number to download the app either. You literally just download and open the app, and unless the only time you have to give them information in the app is if you're placing an order through the app. That's it. As long as you don't order through it.
The app will ask you for your location information so that when you're using the app, it can give you accurate pricing for the store that you're in.
Yeah, but
I hope it's more accurate than the Target one was.
It's pretty accurate.
it's pretty good.
I got the Target app just because, you know, there was a deal that I could get $10 off the cat litter one day.
So I was
When I was using the Target app, I was actually in their store using their Wi-Fi, and it could not even locate me in the correct state.
So I was in the bathroom. What are you scared of about your information? Of them selling it or something?
No, mostly of them, you know, clogging my phone with spam.
They don't send anything to your phone.
I have
I mean, you know where I work, Purple. I would tell you. And I've had the app on my phone for years, as long as they've had it, and it's never spammed my phone with anything. Now, my email, on the other hand, they do send emails, but that's only when you're making orders usually.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I have an Alexa. I have like Paramount Plus. I have all kinds of stuff I pay for. I don't get spammed.
Well, a lot of companies, you know, use these deals to give you coupons or something so that they can get your phone number just so they can sell the phone numbers. And then they can get around the do not call list.
They already have your
because
phone
since
number.
you signed up for something with them, they can claim a pre-existing relationship. So then they
already have all your information. You're not hiding anything. They already have it.
If you've done anything to leave a digital footprint, they can find you. So as an employer, I pay for a service where I can run people's names. And like you find out all kinds of weird stuff when you run their real name.
Yeah,
you can't hide. You cannot hide.
That's
in
why I've
world.
just avoided having my phone doing anything to do with the internet.
All I'm saying is, in today's world, you cannot hide unless you literally go live out in the middle of the woods and have no way of, like, no cell phone or nothing where you can be tracked.
In other words, where I was in Michigan.
You cannot conduct a business today without being actively part of the internet. You just can't.
Yes.
And if you think you can, you're kidding yourself.
I have a huge digital footprint on purpose and 2 different names.
Well, it's why I don't understand these fucking anti-vaxxers that are so worried about microchips in the vaccine if they're going to track you. One, we don't have the technology to make batteries small enough for a microchip to do what they say the chip does. And 2, the government's already tracking them on this.
Well, like
they already know everything.
Like if you have an iPhone, if you have an Alexa, what's the temperature right now? Alexa, what's the temperature right now?
Right now, it's 51 degrees Fahrenheit.
Alexa, thank you.
Anytime.
As for what the temperature is, I mean Houston, Minnesota.
Alexa, what's the temperature in Houston, Minnesota?
Right now, in Houston, Minnesota, it's minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oof, it's a summer's day. Here, it's a
temperature it is in Orlando.
Alexa, what's the temperature in Orlando, Florida?
Right now, in Orlando, Florida, it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high.
Alexa, what's the temperature right now?
Right now, in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, Alexa, what's the temperature right now in Los Angeles?
Right now, in Los Angeles, California, it's 56 degrees Fahrenheit.
Man, you're warmer than us.
You guys are lucky. It's like freezing degrees here in Atlanta.
To be fair, like, this is normal winter for us. We're finally at normal winter temperatures because usually we'll have days that'll dip down to the 40s, but it stays in the 50s to 60s. And like that's our winter. And then we'll have a few weekends a year where it dips down into like the 30s. Like on next Monday, it's the lows in the high 30s. And then it's going from 30s up to like high 60s, low 70s. And then next Thursday, the high is in the 50s. It's not even gonna get up to the 60s on Thursday. So like it's fucking bouncing around. Like it's going from fucking 40 degrees to 75 degrees.
My whole point is, in today's world, you cannot hide. If you have a computer, if you put your name, if you pay a bill, you know, anything, unless you're physically walking in and paying your bill.
66.6. Honestly, like, and it's not even just because I find it funny that it's 666. This is just what's most satisfying.
Man, are those troll bots or are those actual people?
I think they're probably just bots.
Hey, Perp, you know, you guys still got Kitty on full frame.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I don't
That means-
care.
Well, she was showing
Like, I'm
off her tools.
showing off.
That means
Stuff.
people. Sorry, Kitty.
No, that's fine.
I want to see Godless's tool. Could you show us your tool?
Oh my crocodile! This thing's old. This is literally Soccer Mom
Okay.
from Michael's.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Given who was asking to see your tool, that was not what I was thinking she was asking.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of a TikTok I saw where it had a
Wait a minute.
woman dressed.
Let's see it, Will.
This is literally the crocodile. If you've ever gone to Michael's,
And it will do what? It will do what again?
everything that Kitty was saying. It has interchangeable heads, and so I can change the head depending on what I'm doing. And I move this, and it becomes a punch, and I can punch through leather, and it has different gauges depending on the size.
It's basically the lighter duty version of the one that I want. The one that I want is cast iron. That one's like, you know, not as heavy duty, but it does do
Yeah,
a
that
lot
one's
of the
made
things
from
that I.
sheet steel.
I do a lot of stuff with like pleather and vinyl because I'm kinky, and so I do a
Oh.
lot of pleather and vinyl work. So
Speaking
it's
of
easy.
that, as I was saying, I saw a TikTok that I was dying laughing. It had a woman in like a sexy outfit, and she taps her thigh and says, "Come here, boy." And then the dog comes out. And then someone was like, "There's something wrong with me because I was expecting a grown-ass man wearing a collar to come crawling. Like, I did not expect a dog. The dog, like, was the surprise."
That's because you watch way too much internet.
I mean,
I'm the same way.
I honestly, when I saw it, I was surprised it was an
Well,
actual
see,
dog
you
and
people
not
have
a
only
dude.
seen it on the internet. These are people that I knew in New York.
Okay, this is why I went off when we had the Pride stream, because when people were talking trash about that, I'm like, then don't go to Pride. If you don't want to see BDSM stuff, don't go to Pride. Don't watch Leather Daddy videos. I see you, all you people, you hate-filled people in the closet. I see you.
I mean,
There is
I
a
can
line somewhere,
understand.
and you know, it's not a clear line, but there is a line somewhere, you know, between what's acceptable in public and what is involving other people without their consent.
Okay, that's different. See, I don't know, but like,
I have a suggestion.
don't go to San Francisco Pride. That's all I gotta
I
say.
mean,
Yeah.
well, when it comes down to it, like anybody who goes to Pride, you know, there should be at least some expectation. It's because Pride isn't for straight people. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, but you don't have
you know,
to.
it's inclusive to them. So my thought process is, you know, you can have a section, you know, sectioned off where pretty much anything goes, and it is like 18 and up. You know, if you know you wander into that area, you need to be of age, and you can't complain about what you may or may not see. Like, and I'm like, I don't care if there's fucking in the streets in this 18 plus
Yeah.
area, as long as it's, you know, sectioned off, and then the rest of it would be because leather daddies
Well,
just walking the street. I don't
yeah.
see that as kink. I don't see that as
I
an
wouldn't have a
issue.
problem with
We
that.
have that
but the
here.
problem is they haven't figured out how to work out the balance between, you know, the kinksters at Pride and trying to make the events family friendly at the same time.
Okay, so here in Los Angeles, what they do is they have a parade. and they'll have someone like Paris Hilton or like Sarah Silverman, you know, and they come in their car, and the parade is, you know, you see leather daddies and stuff. But then when the sun goes down, they have a wristband party, which is don't go in there if you're not under the umbrella. That's all I'm saying. You know, so they try to balance it out. But if you go to Pride, you're gonna see someone with their ass out. And I'll be mad the day that I go to Pride and I don't see someone with their ass out. The problem is I don't know, in America we're becoming way more conservative, and that's okay. Be conservative, just keep it away from Pride.
No, like
But see,
I don't
the thing
agree
is,
with the. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, you don't necessarily have to be straight to not want to see people's asses hanging out, and want to be able
Agree.
to go to Pride. I mean, like, I am ace.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not
Totally.
interested in going to Pride and seeing everybody's kinks. Like, I'm not gonna freak out if I do. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But
Well,
I'll tell you, like, this year,
there's a difference though between nudity and sexuality and sexual content. Like nudity is not inherently sexual. So seeing someone in assless chaps, that's not inherently sexual. You know, like I think that we have way too many hangups around nudity. Nudity is the most natural thing on earth. You are born naked. Clothing is unnatural. It is something that we devise, you know. And I understand wearing clothing to protect you from the elements, sure. But clothing for modesty's sake, like that is entirely a human concept that we've drilled into ourselves. And I think if we had less hangups about nudity and saw things more like, rather than having gendered bathrooms, having unisex bathrooms that have locking stalls and just have all stalls, you know, where you don't have, I think that society as a whole would be better if we were to move in that direction. It's much more egalitarian, and as far as the bathroom thing goes, and also getting rid of some of the hangups around nudity would, you know, I think lead to better outcomes for like sex workers and the like, because it is that shame, that modesty culture that permeates our society that really does, you know, harm people, like women especially, but especially sex workers.
And it's getting worse too, though. Society, we're going backwards. We're digressing as in society.
The conservatives, the evangelicals are trying to, you know, push us back to what they think was an idealized world.
Which is literally
their before the blacks and the gays ruined it.
Yeah, their idea is to just make that more repressive.
They want to go back to when they had the right to beat people, but you know that swings both ways. Let's open it up and see who survives.
Yeah,
I do push-ups and I skate.
I want to show something. I want to show something real quick. James Somerton, he's a YouTuber. He does like long form content, like deep dives on things. And he's done like videos on like he did one on an anime and a manga, but he's also done like gay representation in Hollywood, you know, positive and negative. His most recent video, and I will give a trigger warning, it is hard to watch. It's intense, but if you feel like you can, definitely watch it. It's talking about the gay panic defense and the trans panic defense, and it does a breakdown of like certain like landmark cases that used that defense, talking about the victims and the crime and how it basically became a way that people would get a lesser sentence because essentially trans people and queer people were considered less human, you know, less deserving of life. And he did an amazing job on that video. It just came out a couple of days ago, and I would definitely recommend everybody watch it if you feel like you're mentally capable of watching something that discusses, you know, violence against queer people.
Could we hear the title and author again?
The video is by James Somerton, SOMERTON. He's a YouTuber, and like his channel, it's just James Somerton, it's his name, and it's the video he put out recently, and it's talking about, you know, the gay panic defense or the trans panic defense. Let me see if I can pull up a link to the video, and I'll DM it to Purple.
The history of the queer panic defense.
Yes, that's it.
Okay,
You
I
found
think
it.
I got it here.
So I have a kind of a.
He's got a lot of videos. Definitely watch them. He's amazing. His content is phenomenal. But I just watched that video today, and like I cried. And I think that everybody should watch it. And watch his back catalog too, because again, all of his fucking videos are amazing. But that one just really, it was a gut punch, to think about how for the longest time people like us were considered less than human,
Oh, and
that it
people
was
are
okay
still
to
getting
kill us.
away with that defense in a lot of places. A lot of states in the
Yeah.
U.S. it still flies.
Yeah, and I mean, it's shifted a little bit away from like gay panic to more it's the trans panic defense now, where it's used to basically dehumanize especially trans women or trans women of color. And they seem to be the ones that bear the brunt of that kind of violence, and then their assailants doing that defense to get away. It's basically diminished capacity defense. And again, James goes real deep dive on it. It's an amazing video.
I won't go through all of them, but Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, they do not have a law against it, so I guess it's legal. I don't know. But in California, Colorado, Connecticut, and the District of Columbia, it's illegal. And in Hawaii as well, you cannot, and Illinois. So it's basically legal everywhere where laws have not made it illegal. Maine, Maryland, Nevada.
The blue states and some of the purple states tend to be much better when it comes to civil rights.
Well, Nevada better be gay. Nevada better be gay friendly because they wouldn't have anyone to work in their casinos. They better be. And Nevada is where.
Say that this fucking lever is amazing. Like when I'm trying to deal with all this fucking fusible foam lined canvas, and I can just lift the presser foot and put it down, like hands free. Carry on. Sorry, I love this machine so much. You guys are amazing for helping me get it. I love you all.
I'm shocked on how many states have no law against it. So you basically can use
it doesn't mean it will be successful, but yeah, like it can be used. I mean, it hasn't really been successful in a while, and there were a few cases that James talked about where it kind of didn't work. One of them, it was this angelic looking young boy. I think his name was Matthew, but he was absolutely brutalized, and his attackers, I believe, tried to use the defense, but it didn't actually work in their case, which,
You're not talking about Matthew Shepard, are you?
It might be. Little blonde, like, angelic boy?
No, Matthew Shepard was somebody who was lured and murdered in Wyoming in the 90s. And, like,
it might have been. It made like national news, like his face was bashed in so that he was like unrecognizable as human.
They tied him up on a fence and left him there.
Yeah, it might be that one then. Like I said, James covered it in the video. It was fucking tragic. Like some of the stories I'd never heard of, and like that's another reason why I want people to watch it, because
that's sad.
In the 90s, I was just a kid. I was born in 86, so 96, I would have been 10 years old, and that's halfway through the 90s.
It makes me want to cry though that people don't remember Matthew Shepard. It was a big deal, and I'm not much older. I am in my 40s, but it's sad.
Well, but still, you would have been a teenager / in your early 20s when it happened, as opposed to me being 10.
Yeah, no, totally understand. But it's we were saying earlier how certain, like, we're years removed from certain things and people are desensitized by it.
I know, like, a couple of the bigger cases that I remember from when I was a child. JonBenet Ramsey, I remember that case, even though I was pretty young at the time of that one. And I don't remember the name of the victim, but it was a young child. He was lured away from his mother by two boys, and they like they brutalized him and killed him, like
Was that
from
in the
like a shopping
UK?
mall or shopping center. And I believe it was in the UK.
Yeah, that was a big deal. They're
I remember
still
that.
they're still in prison. They
Good.
look all
Let 'em rot.
hardcore. They look all hardcore. They have shaved heads and beards. They're
Well,
still
fuck
in
them.
prison.
I hope they never get out. I hope they never see the light of day again. You know?
Oh, the same way. If someone, if that happened to me, I would be waiting for him when they got out.
I hate to say it, and like this, I don't know, like maybe this, makes me not the best person, but like as much as I hate to see an innocent person be hurt and killed, when it's an adult, it still hits me, it impacts me, but it's not the same as when it's a child. It's like when you hurt a child, like that's a special kind of evil, and it's like if I were to ascend to like godhood, I would Thanos smash you into oblivion in a hot fucking second. Like
In
you
the old school Prince of Thieves kind of way of life, it's you don't harm animals or kids. Women, innocence, you go for your combatant and that's it.
like I
Times
mean,
have changed.
I don't know. The women and children, like, save the women and children first. I'm like, I don't know that save the children, yes. And like, if a woman has a child, then let her go with her child. But just because someone's a woman, if you are a single woman with no child, I don't think that you necessarily should get a spot on the lifeboat over a single father or dude that has no child, or a father with a child. The father should go with the child.
It's the original intent of all that had to do with reproduction and furthering the species, continuing the species.
I mean, obviously, let the parents of the kids go with the kids and save the kids. Like, I'm totally fine with saving the kids and letting the adults fend for themselves, But as far as like, I don't know. I think it's a little sexist, honestly, to say, oh, women get priority like on the lifeboats, even if they don't have a child.
Because of COVID, I don't think I'll ever go on a cruise again. And I used to cruise all the time.
I've never been on a cruise in my life.
I love going on cruises. See, but I don't drink anymore, but I used to go all the time. They're awesome.
And I've never left the country either. Like, my aunt and uncle took each of me and my sisters on a vacation. They took me on vacation first because I was the eldest, and we went to visit family up in Massachusetts. And that was great. Like, I got to see my family, and we took a day trip out to New Hampshire and like went like and hit the ski slopes and stuff. Like it was fun. It was a great 10-day trip. I loved it. The next year they took my sister on a trip and they took her to Cancun. And then
That's
my baby
heartless.
sister went a couple years later and Erica went to San Diego and Cancun, and then Allie went to Cancun for the entire time. So they brought both of them out of the country on their vacations, and I got to do a trip that I ended up doing by myself the next year for Thanksgiving to visit my grandmother who was dying. So, still a little salty about it.
I would be
Just a little bit.
too. Cancun is a beautiful place.
I mean, even California. I've never been to California, and I've always wanted to go. Even if I didn't go to Mexico, I would have been fine with, just going to California and like doing vacation rather than just family time. But I got to spend more time with my grandmother, and this was the year before she was diagnosed with cancer. So it was extra time I got to spend with her, So I wouldn't change it, but a little bit of salt. Just a little bit of salt. It's been 20 years, but a little bit of salt.
I will tell you, like, if anybody else in America said I want to come to California, I'd be like, okay, but you live in Florida. We basically have the same weather. The only difference is that it's not humid here. Not like the East Coast. Like it's not at all. Like we have no humidity compared to Florida.
Yeah, Florida is as
Well,
humid
yeah,
as
it's the
Satan's
difference
country.
between a swamp and a desert.
Yeah, I live in the desert. Like we have no humidity here. Even at the lately, because I've been depressed because I haven't gone to Vegas in 2 years because of COVID. I've been busy. So on the weekends now I go to the beach.
I have been to Vegas. I did go to Vegas once.
Vegas is awesome.
And the trip that my aunt and uncle took me on to Massachusetts, the year that it happened, it was in 2001. It was my first time ever flying, and we went in November after September 11th. I was freaking the fuck out. I chewed the corner off of my school ID because I was like nervous and scared because like everything was like hyped up, like everybody was like so anxious and like
Oh, totally.
TSA was fucking terrifying.
I flew after September 11th. It was a surreal experience.
It was my first time flying, and I went fucking 2 months after 9/11. And oh man, it freaked me the hell out. Especially since we left around like 11/9, when people were saying, "Oh, there's going to be another thing on 11/9 instead of 9/11." And like, fuck me, like why? Yeah.
So I have a question. Do you guys have passports?
I don't have a passport yet, but I do intend on getting one because it's a good thing to have, and they're good for 7 years. So even if I don't use it, it's still another form of ID, and it's good to have in case I need to flee the country because it turns into a fucking Gilead, and then I'll run to Canada.
Jenny, do you have a passport?
Nope.
I traveled a lot. My parents, when I was younger, my parents took my family around the world. So when I got older, it made me want to travel more. So every year I get a passport.
Well, traveling has really never been in my budget, so I have never seen the need to have a passport.
I miss just driving so much. Every weekend I get in my car and I go to Ventura. That's where I've been getting all these sewing machines because I've been I miss driving. I miss being in my car. I miss eating crappy food, seeing different places. So now on the weekend I go to the beach and I just start driving up north to find like places I've never heard of. It's the adventure, I guess. It's the American in me. I miss the open highway.
Oh, so my Amazon order came today. I've got magnetic snaps for
Awesome.
some bags that I'm going to be making, and then I've got D-rings and little lobster clips and sliders, so I can do some adjustable straps on some bags. And then the one I'm really excited about is this one because these are the rings and sliders for doing like bras or like adjustable straps on spaghetti strap shirt. I've got black and clear. So I'm going to be making some like sports bras and stuff. And I'm excited about that. I'm looking for something I made. Like, I just made it recently. I can't find it. I wanted to show it off. I lost it. Ain't that the way?
I want a handbag that every square centimeter is covered in googly eyes.
That would be creepy.
Doable.
That would be amazing.
It would be funny, yeah.
It would be really time consuming.
Especially
and not
having
fun to make.
Especially having to
it's
form the eyes. Like because if you want you'd have to put like an eye print. Actually, it's doable. You'd have to get a print with an eye
She wants
underneath
googly eyes.
No, but I know,
you would have to actually bond the little plastic
No, I
googly
know,
eyes
but
to
what
it.
would you put underneath it? So you'd
just
have to
plain
get like a
fabric.
googly eye print, you know.
No, because if it's every square inch is covered, you're not going to really see the fabric. There'll only be tiny little bits, so you're better off doing just a plain black fabric so that it helps to outline each one of the little googly eyes.
Yeah, I'm all about chaos. That's true. That's a little bit more order. That would be that's
You would just
doable,
be covering
Jenny.
up the print if you were to put anything on there. So
I would think that you could just super glue them on.
I mean, I would use a stronger adhesive than super glue. Personally, like maybe like a Gorilla Glue might work better. And I would say do like a black vinyl, instead of cloth, because then, it would bond better. Bonding plastic to vinyl is not that hard, especially with Gorilla Glue.
Jenny just gave me an idea for my next video. Godless sewing. How to make a googly-eyed bag. I don't
Oh,
think
googly
I
eye vest. Do an entire vest out of googly eyes.
I try to make things I'm
I'm
gonna
working on
wear.
it back.
I watch a pair of makers on YouTube, and they have googly eyes on all of their machines.
Oh, that's awesome.
Evan and Caitlin,
Yes.
I love them. They're
They are
so
so
stinking adorable.
wholesome.
And she's like half his size. She's like
Mhm.
4 foot nothing, and he's like fucking 7 feet tall. It's freaking adorable. And Jube, their manager, like
Mhm. Their
I love that
supervisor.
channel. Sorry, supervisor. Yes, you are correct.
So
Who are
Did you
these?
see
Who are
the
these again?
they made with the little beans, so they could see Jube's little beans?
Oh yeah,
What's the name again?
Evan
Evan
and
and
Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Evan and Caitlin.
They do a lot of stuff with like resin, and they have an actual like CNC machine in their garage. I'm super fucking jealous.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I've seen that. I know exactly. When
And
you
like
said
she's
resin,
tiny and adorable,
Resin
and
time.
like he's
Resin time.
goofy.
Resin time.
Resin time.
oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, it's so good.
I am
I
retired.
watch their gaming channel too, because they do some gaming stuff together.
And she gets spooked so easily.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious.
I am retiring my major league shirt. I'm gonna put Charlie Sheen on the back of something else. People are getting old enough where they haven't seen the movie, and the Cleveland Indian is kind of racist, so I'm getting rid of my Cleveland Indian, and I'm gonna put Charlie Sheen on something else. So I'm all about repurposing, and I'm okay with not wearing old school symbols of oppression.
Perp, I'm going to take off.
Have a good one.
You know, Bill, I
Bye.
still have the willow around here somewhere. The
Good night
little
to
mini
everyone.
shirt that I was
Bye, Jenny.
making that I turned into a pillow.
Good night to everyone in chat.
Aw.
Thank you for being here. We
Night,
love you,
Jen.
and the only reason we do this is for you.
Bye,
Love
Jenny.
your
Take
face,
care,
Jen.
folks.
You know,
Have a good
it's really funny that you would say that, Kitty, is that the other day I bought everything in my Amazon because I was like, oh, this stuff's been in my cart forever. So I inadvertently bought a jelly roll that you sent to me and a bunch of other stuff. It'll be here. It'll be
Make the jelly roll rug.
yeah.
It is so easy to make. It's a little time consuming, but it's easy and it's fun. You just need a wide zigzag stitch. Like, so you basically, you get the batting, and then you stitch it all together. And you know, you fold it up in a certain way. I'll send you a video that shows how to do
I
it.
have everything because I live in a fabric store. It's just now it's
and
just the
then
will.
you just start in the middle by rolling it up a little bit, and you do the zigzag stitch, and then you just literally just keep turning it and zigzag stitching all the way around, and eventually it just spins down to this giant ass rug.
And an American, like a bunch of American quilt stuff is coming too that you sent me for during the 4th of July.
Nice. Well, yeah, like one of the jelly rolls that I sent you is all patriotic prints, which is right up your flag shagger alley.
Oh yeah. I had to bring the flags back too. Ouch! I just slapped myself with a hanger. I had to bring the flags back.
I have you
Mitch
beat.
Mitch McConnell forgot.
I have you beat, Will, for slapping yourself with something. I once got slapped in the face by my own tit.
By your own what?
My boob.
Oh.
I had gotten out of the shower. I was wrapped in a towel, and I went and laid down. I was like, fuck it, I'll put clothes on later. And then I went to twist to pop my lower back, because after the shower, you know, you kind of want to like pop everything because it feels good. And fucking boob just smacked me right in my mouth. And I'm like, you traitorous whore.
I do crazy stuff on purpose. I'm born goofy.
I have to keep my nails trimmed because I've been having the bad habit of stabbing myself with my own fingernails.
I bite my nails. I am born nervous.
I have acrylic on mine, so I don't bite them.
That's what I do sometimes. I'll go get gel nail. I'll do a manicure just to keep me from biting them.
Also, my nails are very fragile. Like, my condition affects like my nails. So they're super like paper thin. So if I don't have the acrylic coating over them, then they'll actually tear and like I can get exposed nail bed. Not fun. So
No.
this protects my fingers,
Yeah.
and gives me nails so that I can function. But I keep them pretty short. Like
I used to have good nails. I used to use mine as screwdrivers, but like in the last 10 years, they've gotten really soft and they tear all the time.
Mine
This
are
is-
like paper. It's horrible.
This is really sad, actually. This is the end of an era. I used to be this skinny, and Charlie Sheen used to be really cool to me. The internet killed a lot of things. I thought Ozzy was awesome until his show came on, and I saw he was like just as like put up in hard wet as I am. The worst thing that ever happened to Will Smith was YouTube. Have you guys seen Will Smith's YouTube channel?
No.
He's kind of creepy. And he said this really awful thing about atheists where he said they were asking him about Trump, and he's like, well, now I hope everyone sees what happens when we have an atheist president. And even the person talking to him was like, Trump's not an atheist. And he's like, no, Trump is an atheist.
Like, even if he is, like, he's still like, I mean, actually, no, Trump isn't an atheist. He thinks he's himself to be God. Like,
But
that's where he's fucking.
Will Smith was playing.
Although I will agree that Trump is definitely not Christian. He just uses that to appeal to voters.
But there's priests who aren't, but my whole point was Will Smith, that was my guy, and he just got weird. And he was trying to rope in atheists with being evil. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? I don't know, that he lost me at that point. So now I just look at him like he's just really obnoxious and opinionated. I wish I was that rich. Like, I'm shit talking status, but not like Will Smith. I wish I was Will Smith rich, but he's crazy. He's just crazy.
Well, and when somebody makes a comment like that, the first question is, do you know any atheist? Have you actually talked to one?
Steve Harvey too. There's an interview.
Steve Harvey is terrible.
It's really hard to watch. It's with him and Joy Behar, and he is ignorantly like, "Oh, I hate atheists," and then Joy Behar's like, "Do you even know what atheism is?" and he didn't. He had no idea. He just, "Oh, you don't believe in God? I hate you."
So hey, since you say you were a fan of Charlie Sheen, I got a question for you.
Okay.
How much cocaine did he take last January?
Charlie Sheen,
enough to kill 2.5 men.
One of the reasons he's my hero is because he's just the king of man whores. He is just
like Charlie Sheen and Keith Richards and a handful of cockroaches will be there at the end of the world.
He
tickled themselves.
He caught HIV and kept going. Like, he is he was openly dating porn stars. Like, he's the kind of guy where you see around Hollywood, he still gets respect. He's just king man whore. I have odd heroes, and I praise people for weird things. Like, even I think Johnny Depp's kind of a scumbag. I used to really look up to him, but then I found out who he was, and I'm like, yeah, you're kind of a scumbag.
I mean, honestly, though, like, a lot of the hate thrown on Johnny Depp is coming from Amber Heard, and like, she was an abuser. Like, Amber Heard is a fucking bitch.
And like I said, I do not talk shit about anyone who's had an addiction problem. I've had a real addiction problem. I haven't had a drink in 7 years for a reason, and it wasn't because I could hang, So I don't ever judge anyone for their habits ever. I've been there on all habits.
So the shell of the bag is done. I have to do the lining, but the front zipper pocket is in, and the side slip pockets, the elasticated slip pockets.
Ooh.
And the straps are attached. So this is, so we got the front zipper pocket here, and if I turn it this way, you can see where it's attached here, and that's interfacing on the back of the black fabric to just give it more stability. Then here is the elasticated split pocket. There's one on this side and one on this side. And now And like I said, the straps are done. And so all I have to do is sew the lining and put the zipper panel into the lining, and then attach the lining to the bag, and we're done. Like that, then this bag will be done. This is one of the things for the charity auction that I know they were going to be doing like next month, I think. So this is going to be one of the things that I'll be donating for the charity auction for Diane. So working hard on it there, and I'll probably make a couple of
Very
other
cool.
things. But I really liked this print because I figured it's like a neutral print insofar as like it's not like too masculine or feminine. It's it's unisex and it's pretty, but it's also a little bit muted because it's like gray and there's a little pop of color, but it looks tiger. And I don't know. I just really liked the pattern, and I thought it would make a really good bag, and I have to
Yeah,
say
looks
I'm
real.
pretty happy with it. And then here's the zipper pouch pocket that will get sewn into the lining once I get the lining. But yeah, so it's coming along.
Okay, well, we're going on 3 hours here, and I've got a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I think I need to wrap this up now.
Can we end with a lewd joke?
Oh, by all means.
What does eating a pussy and smoking a cigarette have in common?
What's that?
Oh, I just heard this one.
They both taste weird when you get to the butt.
Ah!
Oh.
I will
Not wrong.
refrain from what I was going to say.
Okay, and with that, let's go around and do wrap-ups. Kitty, are you going to be showing up any place soon?
Yes, actually, I will be on Atheist Edge. He asked me to be part of a stream Saturday. I'm not sure what time it is, but I'll mention something about it on Twitter. Other than that, I'm just making TikToks here and there. So if you are on the Clock app, I would appreciate the follow. It's at kitty_the_atheist.
Dick, are you still with us?
I think he gone.
Yeah, I thought so. Pirate Kitty, you've got anything going on, or?
No, just that silly little fundraiser, but that's not really that important.
Well, you didn't even put a link out here for it.
I didn't think about it. I'm bad person with brain. That didn't work out. Let me go find a link while somebody else goes in.
Okay, well, we'll let Will go. His spiel goes on for a minute or two here.
my heater's going, but I'll endure. How's it going? I'm Godless Sewing from the Godless Sewing channel. Subscribe to the Godless Sewing channel and come on down to the Godless Sewing channel. Right now, I have a Godless Shorts out because I was raised by boomers. So I tried to make a short, but it didn't upload properly. So I have an awesome video on my channel, and I have another video out right now. And right now, I'm working on a video that is a blatant ripoff of a BBC show from the 70s. So it's going to be exciting. Come on down, subscribe to the Godless Sewing channel, and remember, do something with yourself. Create, love someone, love yourself, and wear a mask for F's sake.
Yeah,
And
get
don't click on the
vaccinated.
selfie stick.
Yes, people, by all means, do everything you can to stop spreading the COVID.
It's been we're going on 3 years. Come on. Enough's enough,
Well,
people.
And I was double vaxxed. I was always wearing a mask. I did everything I could to protect myself, and I still got stuck with it. And that was a really miserable 2 weeks.
And meanwhile, in Los Angeles, numbers are getting worse. Wear a mask. Don't be a dumbass. And I probably won't see you because I'm hiding from the entire population of where I live.
Okay, I see Pirate Kitty got her link out there.
So yeah, I put a little link. I'm doing a little mini fundraiser to try and see if I can raise some money to go to the American Atheist Convention, that is in Georgia over the, what is it? What holiday is it? Easter weekend. I couldn't remember the holiday. It's like such an unimportant holiday to me. I completely forgot which one it was.
They
Jewish
sell
Zombie
really.
Day.
It is total zombie day, but they sell really awesome Easter egg Reese's chocolates. That's all I look forward to.
I have to look for the Cadbury caramel eggs. The white cream ones are gross, but I like the caramel ones.
No, those are my poison. My
Yeah.
sister once found some on clearance and bought them and put them in the freezer. And then in December, she calls me up and she goes, I don't want to take out my trash. Will you come take out my trash? I was like, why do I want to go out? I'm not going out. No. She's like, I got Cadbury cream eggs. I'll be over in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wait for the candy. I love the candy. Screw the holiday. They have amazing candy.
Yeah, well, that's why the day after this holidays, I always call it half price candy day.
Yeah,
but exactly. They've stopped getting a lot of the good candies.
Yeah,
in
stores
spades.
Don't stock up as much as they used to.
Yeah,
especially during Halloween here, it was really strange. Like the packaging changed and everything.
Well, the thing is like the good candies, like for example, the Cadbury cream eggs or the Cadbury eggs. You're not going to find a bunch of them left over after Easter because they didn't get all that many, so that they wouldn't have to discount stuff. I think it's cheap.
Okay. Well, and with that, I'll be back hopefully, next Wednesday at noon, next Thursday at 10 p.m. Aside from that, I don't have anything else going on this week.
Hello to the talking
If
hand.
Dick was here, I think he would help plug the pub chat Friday at 6, and then the shills Saturday at 6. And a good chance I could show up on either of those, depending basically on my weird schedule or lack thereof. So with that, I'd just like to thank all my patrons: Ox and Robert X, the Lavender Lady, Greg Hartwick, Dog, Jyuni the Apostate, Vonrick, and X of the Utah Outcast. I appreciate you people sending me a bit each month just so I can, keep this running and pay for the StreamYards and such without having to be pulling money out of my pocket, because I don't have much. So I appreciate you helping me along with it. So with that, we will wish you all a good night.
Rock out with your clock out.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.